guam.com/UnitedFairSale18 for more details. Terms and conditions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
A judge is telling Missouri Governor Eric Greitens he has to stand trial. Fox's Jeff Manasso with this live.
Lisa, a St. Louis judge won't toss out the case, so jury selection begins this Thursday in Governor Greitens' felony invasion of privacy trial, though a bench trial is still being considered. The Republican governor is accused of taking a nude photo of a mistress in 2015, but a photo that prosecutors contend they don't have. The judge also ruled that the mistress can testify at the trial. The defense calls it a botched investigation by a lying private investigator hired by a liberal circuit attorney. Greitens also faces another felony charge over campaign donations and potential impeachment proceedings. Lisa.
Thanks, Jeff. The U.S. military just confirming that 2 Marines were shot during a training accident in California. It happened at Camp Pendleton yesterday. The Marines were hit by small arms fire. One remains hospitalized in serious condition. The other has been released. The accident remains under investigation, but officials say it was during scheduled live fire training. The National Rifle Association turns to a military man for its next leader.
The NRA announcing Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North will become president of the gun rights group in the coming weeks. Executive Vice President and CEO Wayne LaPierre praising North in a statement as a legendary warrior for American freedom, a gifted communicator, and skilled leader. The 74-year-old retired Marine will succeed President Pete Brownell, who announced Monday he would not seek another term. North currently serves as a member of the NRA Board of Directors and spent the last 17 years with Fox News as a show host and contributor. Steve Rappaport, Fox News.
The Detroit Pistons need a new head coach, announcing the departure of Stan Van Gundy today after missing the NBA playoffs for the 3rd time in 4 years under his leadership. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News Radio.
What would you do with unlimited internet? With Docomo Pacific, the possibilities are endless. Docomo Pacific is throwing off the data caps so you can enjoy more of the things you love. Watch, stream, download, and play with no end in sight. Stop by any of our stores or check out DocomoPacific.com to learn more. Life becomes limitless with Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Stop by any Circle K today and overload your For Real. It's simple. Pick out your favorite For Real shake, blend it, and then mix and match any 2 toppings for only $1. Overload your For Real with a variety of sweet treats like Oreo cookies, gummy bears, classic M&Ms or peanut M&Ms, and Reese's peanut butter cups. Simply add them to your For Real shake for an overload experience and enjoy. For Real Overload, only available at participating Circle Ks. Circle K, take it easy.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1972.
Chili's Smokehouse menu just got tastier with their new smoked honey chipotle short ribs, marinated and smoked for hours. Try the smoked honey chipotle short ribs and chicken combo, or enjoy the family combo with mouth-watering honey chipotle short ribs, Texas-sized baby back ribs, crispy chicken, and juicy barbecue chicken served with home-style French fries and corn on the cob. It's the Chili's Smokehouse menu, now with smoked honey chipotle short ribs, available for a limited time. Chili's, more life happens here.
Are you a homeowner looking to save money on your power bill? Ever thought about getting solar on your roof? If the answer is yes, Micronesia Renewable Energy will install a solar energy system on your roof for zero money down, so you can save money on your power bill. Sign up in the month of May, and MRE will pay you $400 in cash. That's right. In the month of May, get a solar energy system on your roof, and MRE will pay you $400 just for signing up. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 6 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The Vatican may have stripped former Guam Archbishop Anthony Apparon following his canonical trial on sexual abuse and other allegations, but he's still welcomed by the Catholic hierarchy in Rome. Apparon is seen in a video posted on YouTube attending the 50th anniversary of the founding of the Neo-Catechumenical Way last Saturday. The video was posted by the Vatican News. Apparon appears seated among cardinals and bishops on the stage, holding a cane. They are listening to Pope Francis deliver an address to the crowd. In March, a Vatican tribunal found Apparon guilty of certain allegations without specifying which allegations he was guilty of. Apparon left the island in 2016 after child molestation charges against him surfaced. Apparon has maintained his innocence and appealed the guilty verdict. The Government Accountability Office will not be waiting on soil sample tests results before releasing its investigative findings on Agent Orange on Guam, nor will it be conducting its own testing. A draft report of the GAO investigation is expected this month, a final public release anticipated by mid-July, according to a letter from GAO to Vice Speaker Therese Terlaki. Waiting on soil sample testing results would significantly delay the report, says the GAO. However, the office has reviewed the soil testing plan. Soil sampling was limited to Andersen Air Force Base. It may take 60 to 90 days before the testing is completed. We'll have more news after this.
In this divided world, there are still a few things that unite us. The thrill of an exciting championship game.
Fire to the end zone. Touchdown!
The sound of great music.
The Grammy goes to...
And the love we have for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam presents to you For the Love of Burgers menu. For a limited time, we want you to put down that fork, tuck that napkin in your collar, and go for broke with an amazing burger for just $11.99. 8 burgers to try, and time isn't wasting. Ruby Tuesday Guam lunchtime. See you soon.
One of the longest-running primary care clinics on Guam, the FHP Health Center, has been your convenient one-stop healthcare clinic for you and your family for many generations. FHP's highly trained and well-known medical, dental, and vision providers and their friendly clinical support team are here, ready to take care of you. In addition to the excellent care, FHP offers a full-service pharmacy, laboratory, radiology, and specialty care center in one location. FHP Health Center, our island, your clinic. Most insurance accepted, including Netcare, Aetna, and TRICARE.
10 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. Members of the Calvo administration's finance team are hoping to collect at least $20 million in the next 3 months from the tax amnesty program that took effect yesterday. Deputy Revenue Tax Director Marie Benito telling the Guam Daily Post that there's no way of knowing just how much the amnesty will bring in, but the 2008 amnesty raised more than $20 million over the same 3-month period. She hopes at least to get another $20 million this time around. Acting Bureau of Budget Director Lester Carlson also expressing the same hope. The tax amnesty plan was not part of the initial fiscal recovery plan, said Carlson, but it should help close the $67 million budget shortfall projected for the remainder of this fiscal year. The funds collected from the tax amnesty have not yet been earmarked, said Carlson, but he expects it may be used to pay tax refunds unless the legislature acts to appropriate the funds for some other purpose. Estumbo Elementary School has saved about $85,000 in janitorial services by having students and staff do the cleaning themselves. The savings have allowed the school to purchase much-needed supplies and equipment. Principal Derek Santos and his staff got approval to opt out of the Guam DOE custodial contract so that they could use the money allotted for cleaning on other school needs. Their self-cleaning program was implemented last summer. The money formerly reserved for cleaning services has now been invested in purchasing whiteboards, multimedia sets, and other school supplies. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Right now with the weather.
How do you spell drug testing? You gotta send somebody a text here. Just hold on. Get there. Press the button on the WhatsApp. Where were we?
For some people, they spell it F-A-I-L.
It's 6:12 in the morning. Partly sunny skies today. That's what the forecast says. Let me see if I can get the weather map up on the screen so everybody can see what we're talking about. Partly sunny, isolated showers. Winds out of the east, 10 to 20 miles an hour. Expected highs about 88 degrees. Mostly cloudy. Scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms tonight with east winds 5 to 15 miles an hour. And overnight lows are expected to be about 78 degrees. So we might finally be getting some of that rain that we were looking at falling yesterday. Sunset tonight, 6:37. Sunrise this morning was about 5:57. All right, Mike, so tell me what's on the screen that you see.
Well, the Marianas in this picture here, just below the timestamp on the date. So you can see the stuff down to the south, which is going to be poking its way up over the next couple of days.
Ugh.
Big blob out to the east. That big area is still 97W, supposed to pull off and pull this trough with it. So as you can see on my radar here, we got quite a few scattered showers in the area this morning for the drive, so just expect a little slick ride here and there.
All right, gotcha. And I know you've got an opinion about it, so I'm going to ask. National Weather Service says that there's a 50% chance of getting a strong tropical storm and about a 25% chance of getting a Category 1 typhoon. Have you heard that newscast already?
I guess they're talking about during the season. Yeah, you're rolling dice there. You can't tell this time of year. The chances they give, that's about climatologically normal for us.
Right, so we just throw the averages out.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like
happens.
a dartboard.
6:13 in the morning. News and weather together brought to you by our pals over at Bank Pacific, where others put branches, they place roots.
The smartphone super sale event is back at GTA. We're dropping our prices on our most popular smartphones, including the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 and the latest Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus. Hurry in and save up to 60% off. These amazing deals won't last long, so come in and see us today. Conditions apply. Visit GTA.net for details. Offer ends May 31st. GTA, your island, your network.
So while we're still in the news zone, let me get this in here. A note from Patty Diego at the Guam Power Authority announcing an emergency power outage in progress in the Gigo-Gajanero Road area, about near the softball field. About 5:08, there was a reported auto pole collision. GPA crews on site to repair the power pole hardware. They estimate to be restored by about 6:30 this morning. So again, if you're up in that area this morning, and that's a terrible thing. Kevin and I were just talking, today is the 50th anniversary proclamation signing that's going on. Be nice to have lights when they get around to doing that. They apologize for the inconvenience, but the outage is necessary for the safety of the crews as they effect the repairs to that pole.
Unfortunately, those that we wish to reach right now, their alarms didn't go off this morning.
Yeah, that's probably what's going on. Yeah. What? Huh? All right. This important news, the Ray Gibson Show, brought to you by King's Restaurant, serving Guam favorites to families for over 40 years. King's Restaurant, always open, always local.
Did you hear that Morco Equipment on Ipoh Road in Tumaning is now an employee-owned company? It's called an ESOP, or ESOP, which stands for Employee Stock Ownership Plan. Collectively, the employees now own Morco Equipment. Morco made this change in response to the U.S. military buildup on Guam to retain key employees and to recruit new ones. There's now strong motivation for employees as owners to take responsibility for their role in the company. If you're interested in talking to Morco about future employment prospects, please apply through their webpage, morcoequipment.com.
Portions of the program also brought to you by our friends over at Security Title, providing solutions for even the most complex real estate transactions.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,500 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 475-4545, Upper Tuon 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
So, at the risk of repeating myself, not that I do that all the time, just a note here, GPA says there was an auto pole collision up in Jigo. Crews are on the scene to repair power pole hardware, so they had to shut off the lights. They should have it on by about 6:30. It says 6:30 here, but it didn't say AM or PM. We're assuming that they sent out the good crew, and lights will be back on in about 10, 15 minutes.
By the way,
so.
she just issued another statement.
Did she?
Power was
Oh.
restored at 6:14.
How about that?
All right. See, that's the power of radio.
Yeah, we got it
no
done.
sooner do the words pop out of my mouth than the lights, too, magically come back on.
This is why people want you to run for office.
No. I got to save the magic. I gotta. I can't sprinkle the Gibson fairy dust over everything.
Sure you can.
Hey, welcome to the program. Excuse the mess. It is the Ray Gibson Show here on The Point. My name is Ray. You can hear the clickety-clack on Kevin Kerrigan's keyboard. The guy never stops working. He's always got something going on. And pleasure to be working with him and listening to the newscasts in the morning. Do them at the top of the hour, do them at the bottom of the hour until he's got to go off and do the regular job. And if you want to see the fruits of his regular work, pick up any copy of a Guam Daily Post, and he'll be all over the place in there. Mike Knight gets the phone when you call it 888-8255. That's 888-8255. See, I was going to say, yeah, I'm looking at the traffic gizmo to see if there's any problems in the Jigo Gajanero Road area. Now, there's nothing. The early look on traffic right now is that there is barely any at all. There's a couple of places in Tumon, people getting stuck at lights or something like that, but there's no major traffic to worry about. It looks like just a regular Tuesday morning as we make our way through the day. And the big stories, the big headlines, what will occupy us today? People just can't take their eyes off of Troy Torres. Have you noticed? They just can't. The guy sends out a thing yesterday asking for his wallet. In newsrooms all over the island, sprung into action. Where is Troy Torres' wallet? Who's got Troy's wallet? What's going to happen with the wallet? He was arrested. He was released, but somebody still got his wallet. If you haven't seen that, I'll be happy to read bits and pieces of it to you. A little bit later on, we'll also talk about a story. I might actually play the story as well. Chris Barnett and Torres comes clean about cover-up and drug abuse. And then towards the end of it, Chris asked him, did the administration know you were doing drugs when you worked at Adelup? Yes. Was what he said. So that's kind of what I'm curious about this morning is do we not test for drugs anymore in the government of Guam?
On initial employment, yeah, I think that's required.
Is it? I guess, but I mean, just for down the road, anybody start to see somebody acting weird and maybe wondering if that guy should be driving a bus or a bucket truck or something like that. Is there still a method for that? Who is protected?
Annual test, you mean?
I was at some point there was in October of last year, and I know this based on a search that I did just a few minutes ago. Daily posted a story, and it was with the Attorney General who said that random drug testing is a violation of the Constitution. Violates the Fourth Amendment, and there's a list of people that can and cannot, and Troy is not on that list of people that can be drug tested. I'm just kind of curious about, when you've got somebody that's acting hinky or you suspect might be on some kind of drugs, especially if we're talking about somebody that is instrumental in policy creation and the telling of the stories of Adelup, you might want to make sure that person is in his right mind, if you will. So I'm curious as to how much of that is done.
I think at that point it would negate the random label, because if you suspect that they're using, then it's
Some
not
kind
anymore
of
a random test.
A little more of a probable cause thing.
That's right. That's right.
Forgot to go to law school,
but evidently nobody saw it in Troy. So.
I don't know.
Does he act that way normally?
He said they did know. He says in the thing they did know that he was on drugs, but I don't know if he knew officially on drugs because he took a test and they looked the other way on it, or they just said, oh, that's just Troy being Troy. I don't know, but there's we could get into the Troy all the time thing. I don't know about that. I think there's some other interesting versions of the stories that are out there. That was just a thought that came to my head as I was watching the thing on the YouTubes yesterday. That Chris did. It continues to be that interesting story. A story that Kevin had just a few minutes ago in the news, and I am absolutely delighted to hear what they're doing at Istanbul.
Isn't that great?
Yes, I think it's a great
good
story.
news. Yeah.
$85,000 that they don't have to spend on somebody to come in and sweep the floors and make sure the toilets are flushed and change out the property of the government of Guam toilet paper.
Helping to buy their own supplies. That's a great good news story.
I think we ought to take it a step further. I think that ought to be the model for the way we do this in the government of Guam. How much additional money could be saved if they took a model like this, what they're doing in Istanbul, $85,000 a year, and applied this to all of the other schools. And I'm sure there's
of the savings.
Oh, just well, I mean, if you were a teacher, if you were an administrator, think of the things that you could do with the facility. All of the deferred maintenance that needs to take place. $85,000 to buy a whole bunch of stuff over at Home Depot. It buys a whole lot of bare paint, if you will, and paint brushes. And you don't need to bring in contractors to paint the place. You give the students. I mean, listen, I've told you the story 100 times. I mean, I was a student at a number of schools. And last thing that we did before the end of the school day was everybody got a mop or a broom or a dust rag or some pledge and started wiping things down and cleaning it up. And that way, when we came into school for the next morning or the next week, the place looked good, smelled good. And I don't recall it costing a whole lot of money. And I've also told you about the concept of justice under God, which is the short way of calling that is JUG. If you're a student at Father Duenas, if you're a student like me at Father Duenas, you are no stranger to the concept of justice under God. And that is, if you step out of line, literally, figuratively, somebody is going to put a piece of paper in your hand. It basically says, meet me at 3 o'clock this afternoon, and we're going to hand out a broom that has 4 or 5 teeth on it, or the world's. They gave me a machete that was actually sharper on the back side than on the front side, and they'd say, "You see that the place over there?" I said, "Yeah, that's the baseball field." They said, "Yeah, clear it. Can you be done by 5?" Fortunately, I was never alone when I did this, because there were other ne'er-do-wells, some of which are holding positions of extreme importance in the government and in the military. So I'm not going to embarrass them by saying their names, Mark. But my point is simply this: is there are ways to defer the spending if you want to get creative. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been around some of the public schools in my life, and I guarantee that there are students there that are very similar in attitude and I don't know, personal awareness as I was in those days, and nothing creates that degree of personal awareness. The soul searching, the question that is, where did I screw up to have to do all of this?
Where did I go wrong?
Then having to take a dull machete and clear out an acre of land so that somebody else can use it. Actually, that's not exactly what happened. What I do is I'd clear out as much as I could, and then it would grow back, and I'd have to clear it out again the next time I got in trouble. It was this perpetual. We had over by the older guys might know about this, but and I can't remember how much of the campus has changed, but there used to be the ROTC building, and right by the ROTC building there was this mound of red dirt. Like it was like somebody was going to do something. It was just a mound of red dirt, like there was going to be a garden all set up, or something like that. I never got around to doing it, so there was just this mound, and the idea was we all got in trouble. I can't remember what it was. Is smoking cigarettes, just bad back in those days, or drinking beer on the campus. I can't remember what it was, but they said, here's what we want you to do. We want you to take that mound of sand and we want you to put it over there. We want to move it so that we can use this for a parking space, and so we did. And it took some time to do it, but we finally got it done. And when it was all said and done, we said, okay, what do you want us to do now? And so we changed our mind, move it back. Just, you gotta love Catholic school. You just gotta. There's something about that. Yeah. And maybe that will explain why people are the way they are. And you look at the front page of the Post, and you go, maybe that's just it. There's just a lot more discipline on the kids at Father Duenas than apparently there were with some of these priests here. A couple of other priest stories, and I like this one here. Banished Guam Bishop attends Rome's celebration, and in attendance at the celebration is none other than His Holiness the Pope. That's nice. I want to be able to get in trouble and still go see the Pope. You figure if he was going to get in trouble and go see the Pope, maybe he'd go in there and, I don't know, ask forgiveness or, make a confession, an act of contrition.
It looks like he got forgiveness.
From somewhere. Airplane ride to Rome. How about that? You know, I try to stay away from the story because they're just all icky. There's a couple of other interesting things that are floating around here that I might get around to talking about. The whole Eric Palacios thing. It's either going to be Troy all the time or Eric Palacios all the time. The accusations of sexual harassments and complaints that not only didn't go anywhere, but apparently turned on the person who was making the complaint. An interesting story on that I might get around to doing. But it occurred to me because in today's Daily Post there is also the editorial. I try not to look at Kevin. I don't know who writes the editorials over at the Daily Post.
The editorial board.
There is an editorial board.
Yes.
So does the editorial? Who is like there a stenographer and then somebody compiles all of the editorial board
don't
comments?
know. I'm not a part of that group.
I've never understood how it works, and I always try to figure out whose voice I should be reading this in. So you're saying it ain't you, but unfit for the job of customs director is the editorial from today's Guam Daily Post, and asked a number of questions and so and such and Balisson and stories about the knives and all of that. So it's an interesting read. There's a companion interesting read in there. Where have all the real leaders gone? Ken Leon Guerrero writes that this morning and makes the quotation from the book Animal Farm. Rule number 7, all animals are created equal, but some animals are more equal than others. And a great example that is several great examples that he uses about people that find it very easy. Apparently, it must be easy to secure your financial security if you're in a variety of positions inside the government of Guam. And so that was one of the things that I was pondering. We think about Eric, and there's others. It's not just Eric Palacios, but there are people for whom they had asked the voters for a nod, for a degree of trust, to accept leadership in this community, to become a member of the legislature. And I'm looking over the list of the people that were voted for in 2016. Obviously, 15 of them became members of the legislature. And then there were a bunch that did not get the nod, that did not get the love from the voters. And sometimes, I mean, you get the feeling as a voter, you ever get that feeling like, you know what, thanks, I appreciate the opportunity to vote for you. Sorry I didn't. Now go away. I don't want to hear from you anymore. And I'm looking over the list. And I'll read up the list so you can listen to this and go, okay, of the people that I'm going to read, the bottom 15, as it were, which one of these blokes still have a position in the government of Guam? How many of them were voted down by the people of Guam, said, we don't want you in the government, but still managed to get a government job? We'll start with, I think this was position number 16, Tina Munya Barnes, followed by Narissa Underwood, Vicente Ada, Frank Blas Jr., Judy Wanpat, Rory Respicio, Chris Duenas, Jermaine Alerta, Fred Berdalio Jr., Amanda Blas. There's Eric Palacios down at number 26. Benito Servino, A.J. Balahaja, Jose San Augustin, and Brant McCready. And Brant down around number 30, he left the island. You want to talk about getting a message, right? I think he's in Hawaii watching lava right now, or something along those lines. That's kind of the point. That they just, you go, man, these people. And I was talking to somebody, a longtime political person in this town. And we were talking about what was going to happen in the election. Somebody is going to become the governor, lieutenant governor of Guam. And that means that there's going to be 8 other people who will not be the governor or lieutenant governor of Guam. And this person was saying, well, I guess that whoever wins is going to have to find a place for them in the new administration. And I said, why? If the people of Guam didn't want them in the governor's office, chances are probably don't want them anywhere else in the government. And it's not a to the victor goes the spoils kinds of thing. It's just that you paid your money and you take your chances and you didn't win. But it doesn't mean that you ought to get lined up for another cush position somewhere.
Well, there's a long history of ex-senators finding positions after they've left within either the administration or back at the legislature.
Yeah. And so I think when voters find out about that, I think they're miffed a little. At least I am, because I just go, "Are you sure? Is it?" All right, just checking. 6:31 in the morning. This is the Ray Gibson Show, and time now for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 32 minutes past 6 a.m. In the headlines from the Daily Post this morning, yet another allegation of priestly abuse. A 33-year-old man has come forward alleging he endured nearly 15 years of sexual molestation at the hands of Father Adrian Cristobal, the former chancellor of the Archdiocese of Agana. The latest lawsuit was filed in Guam's district court by a person who used his initials JCC to protect his identity. He alleges the abuse began when he was 11 years old while he was an altar boy at San Roque Catholic Church in Barrigada, where Cristobal served as parish priest until 2013. There are now just over 160 separate lawsuits against various past members of the clergy of the Archdiocese of Agana. In March of this year, Guam Archbishop Michael Burns announced that the Chancery Office and Archbishop's residence on San Ramon Hill in Agana would be sold in order to raise enough money to help pay the settlement claims in all those lawsuits. A homeless man has been charged with sexually assaulting and robbing a woman at Ipan Beach Park. According to court records, he has denied any involvement. He told police he got the stolen vehicle he was caught in by trading 2 plates of crystal meth for it. 30-year-old Benjamin Jesse Pablo arrested in Talifofo Friday night after fleeing from police in a stolen black Camry. The vehicle was taken last week Tuesday from a woman who reported being sexually assaulted at Ipan Beach Park. Pedro Agravante died from a broken neck and crushed chest, according to medical examiner Dr. Aurelio Espinola. Agravante was struck by a car while trying to cross the street from Iglesia Ni Cristo Church around 7 p.m. Saturday evening. The driver of a Toyota RAV4 said the area was dark. He didn't see the man trying to cross the street until it was too late. Guam Police Department's Highway Patrol Division is investigating the incident. They've not said if speed or alcohol were factors in that accident. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
iConnect time in the studio at 6:34. Connect longer for less with iConnect's push-to-talk mobile and internet plans.
In this divided world, there are still a few things that unite us. The thrill of an exciting championship game.
Fires to the end zone. Touchdown!
The sound of great music.
The Grammy goes to...
And the love we have for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam presents to you For the Love of Burgers menu. For a limited time, we want you to put down that fork, tuck that napkin in your collar, and go for broke with an amazing burger for just $11.99. 8 burgers to try, and time is a-wasting. Ruby Tuesday Guam lunchtime. See you soon.
Do you suffer from eye strain? If you work at a computer, follow the 20-20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, look 20 feet away for 20 seconds to reduce eye fatigue. Ensure you have the optimal prescription for your contact lenses and glasses. Early stages of common eye diseases typically have no symptoms and can only be detected with a comprehensive dilated eye exam. Call Lombard Health today to book an appointment at 989-4747. Guam's best eye care, one patient at a time.
Is it traffic already? Are we moving? Is there any gizmos that are working in the blink mode and all of that? Don't see any major problems right now. Just traffic beginning to build. 6:35 traffic on a Tuesday morning. It probably isn't going to get heavy for probably another 45 minutes or so. But if you got a chance to get out of the office, maybe go have some coffee somewhere, watch a sunrise. Sorry, you're 40 minutes late for that. But, you know what I'm trying to get to is see if you can build in some extra time and arrive a little bit earlier than everybody else. Then you don't have to worry about the traffic hassles for the day. That's Right Now Traffic here on The Point.
For more than 40 years, we've managed our island's most precious resource, your health. Take Care's benefit plans allow members access to more than 120 medical providers, 40 dental providers, and 18 pharmacies in the region. Take Care's health plans ensure members in Palau, Saipan, and Guam receive the care they deserve. Our programs and wellness classes have proven results for our valued members, and our commitment to your health never been stronger. Take Care, our island, your health plan.
The Coconut Wireless is back.
Watch and listen live on thepoint.gu.
Hey. Ray Gibson Show. This is 93.3. We are The Point. Want to talk about something? 888-8255. That's 888-8255. And we can talk about whatever you want to. I've got the list. It's the topic starters so that we can sit down just like regular people do. And, okay, have you heard about this? Have you heard about that? Have you heard about the other? And if you haven't, that's what we're here for. That's the whole idea of the program is if you haven't been paying attention, and it's all right. Not everybody needs to stay up on the news. And I'll be first to admit it. There get to be certain times of the day, and everybody says, "Hey, did you see what was on the legislative channel?" And no. No, give me the Cliff Notes on that, and maybe we'll get back into it. But I do want to say good morning to a bunch of people that are already online on the Facebook Live. It's my favorite thing, and it's nice because I get to see new names every once in a while. There's Greg Karabrock, who Eric is referring to as Mr. K, who is on the line. That's Eric Rosario, that one, not the other one. Ramona White Longa. Haven't said that name out loud in a while. Nice to see you there. Ken Gumatau, and Carlo Branch. Carlo Branch is up early this morning. Maybe could get myself into a conversation about some legislative policies, etc. Lynn Vince Boropolino and Jim Howard is there. And Jim and I continue our quest. Yes, our quest. It's not a quest for Commonwealth or a quest for self-determination or any of that stuff. It's a quest to reopen the Dededo pool. You see where Parks and Rec got to get $5.2 million? A big chunk of change. I guess they got some programs that have come through. And we'll talk. See if we can start grabbing Colby. You want to see if you can? Yeah, because we gotta get him. He sent me an invitation. I can save the deal, the video I was going to play for later. That'll be evergreen all morning long. But I know that Colby has to get to work at a certain amount of time. Andrew Tydinko, good to see you there, buddy. Dennis Borja chiming in from the States. We're talking about a Category 1. Storm and a 25% possibility, according to the guys over at the National Weather Service, that we could get this season a Category 1 storm. Now, that's the basic model typhoon.
Boy, have we been lucky for the past 15 or so years, haven't we?
It's somebody I can't remember whose press release it was, but they were talking about preparation. It might have been Homeland Security. And the recognition now that there is an entire generation
that hasn't experienced
a storm.
And you and I remember from the early 90s.
I remember all of them.
Boom.
I remember every single one like they were yesterday. But these guys say, yeah, maybe we'll get one of those Category 1s. And like I said, Category 1 is your basic model, it's typhoon. It's 74 to about 95 mile an hour winds that you're going to be getting there. It's going to be some rain, maybe some storm surge, that kind of thing. And it will really do a number on people if you are unprepared. And so when I see something like that, that's when I start thinking about preparedness. So I got to feel, I know what they're trying to say. We'll just cover the base, give a prediction on what may or may not happen.
Sure, yeah.
But you still in all, the call goes out that make sure that you know where the flashlight is. Make sure that you know where the batteries are. You got water in the house, because it might not be anything coming out of the tap for a couple of days. And what if it came down to not having water coming out of the tap for a couple of days? Are you capable of bucket flushing?
Right.
Do you understand the concept of bucket flushing? And for this new generation of people that have never heard the phrase, if it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down.
Or which window to open, when the wind is blowing, to equalize the pressure.
I always thought that was a myth. Until I didn't do it at my dad's house.
I had glass double doors in the apartment I was renting blow out because I opened the wrong side.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I didn't know. I did talk to somebody at the weather place years ago, and they said, "Oh, it's a myth. Don't worry about that." And that decision, Pop wasn't in town at the time. That decision for me not to open another window to equalize the pressure made it so there were problems with the sliding glass door, and it took months to be able to get all of that stuff replaced. It's not like you can just. It's not like now, even though there hasn't been a big storm in a while. It's not like you can call somebody and say, "I need to get a window replaced today." Right. That takes some time, and it takes a little bit of doing. Anyway, who else is there? Big Sister Shelley. I was saying that Dennis Borja was talking about how Cat 1 would shut the state of Texas down. Really?
No.
Think they would be better prepared than that?
No. Cat 1 We had a Cat 3 roll through in 1983 in the form of Alicia.
Anybody wake up for it?
We were back up and running in about 6 weeks, complete. Now we were without power, water, phones for several weeks, but Cat 1 to Texas is no big deal.
Yeah, let's close
we
the
get them all the
shutters.
time down there.
Everything going to be all right. Lillian is waiting for a funeral to begin, the funeral of Jose Susuico Ignacio out in San Leandro, California. So waiting for a funeral to start. Hey, let's go see what Ray Gibson's talking about today. Nice. I like that. Good job, Lillian. Jules Elmer, Charlene Marchessault, Lillian Cruz, Ramona Nakamura, Elizabeth Fuerza. Good morning to you. Nice to see you. Waving a little bit. Rita Hugo, Felix Regis, and the usual bunch of fellas. There's Brad. I was wondering where he was going to be. Ken Leon Guerrero just tuned in. Ken, you just missed me talking about your editorial in today's post. Mike Limtiaco was wondering if I'm going to talk about the Manita Farms today. Probably, if you want to call in and talk about it, the possibilities of what may or may not happen with a bill that will move forward, according to Tom Atta over at the legislature. However, I said we got to talk to Mark Colby. This is important stuff here. You forget about everything else. Forget about Troy Torres and Eric Palacios and all of that. The big question is, when are we going to be able to watch baseball, and who's it going to be? With details, the voice of Guam Major League, Mark Colby.
Good morning, sir, and happy day. Thank you for having me.
See, now you just complete the sound. We got my voice, we got Mike's voice, we got Kevin's voice. Now there's Mark. Hit me, Mr. Baseball.
Good morning, sir. You know what? If weather permitting, because I know Mike mentioned little disturbance down below. If weather permitting, we are set to go for this Friday, May 11th. 7 p.m. Paseo Stadium. It'll be the repeat of the 2015 GML Championships, which was the Orioles and the Astros.
Got it. Now I don't know anything about these teams. I mean, who are their big sponsors?
Orioles are sponsored by AutoSpot and Crowns.
Okay, because that's why they sponsor these guys, so that we can get a mention every once in a while. That's cool. That's cool. So do we know, is AutoSpot going to be doing something fantastic? And you know what would be great is they take one of those GMCs and stick it out in the outfield somewhere, and if somebody like hits the ball and it hits the car, they get to keep it.
Well, you know, we've had those kind of talks in the past with AK and other sponsors such as AutoSpot. But that's something logistics that needs to be handled at another level. But even Nico Hotel has offered to, put a billboard sign, and just like in the States, when you hit the sign, you get something like a free night at the hotel or dinner at one of the restaurants.
Yeah. And you said Crowns is the sponsor of the other team?
No, Crowns. It's Crowns AutoSpot Canyons, and Orioles.
I see. Well, yeah, but it's still Crowns is a big sponsor, right? So when is the free Crowns hat night?
I'm unaware of that. They haven't given me that memo yet.
Okay, so here's the thing: is because I'm just saying, if you want to get a lot of people to show up for the inaugural game, we got to do a couple of promotions, man. We got a couple of big deals.
Okay.
Right. So I don't know. Every fifth person in gets a car.
Wow, I don't know if I have the authority to say that.
That's all right. That's all right. So speaking of some kind of crown, should I bring a hard hat? Have they taken care of? Have you had a chance to tour the facility to make sure that if I'm sitting under the concrete part, that I'm not going to get any spalling concrete falling on me?
I apologize. I've been at my other job, so I haven't had a chance to get down to Paseo Stadium. But I do plan on taking a trip down there tomorrow because I am off tomorrow. So I do plan on swinging back tomorrow. And I will post on the Guam Major League Facebook page any developments that are in the vicinity. I'll post pictures of that to see how things look.
Yeah.
But then again, I've always brought equipment for prepared, because I myself up in the press box, you think I got the best seat, but I also got the worst because I've had my share of foul balls to the head.
Well, sometimes for me, that would explain a certain demeanor that I get every once in a while. What happened? I get kicked by a mule when I was a little kid.
That's right.
Little known fact. Anyway, so there you've got that, and we know who's going to be playing. And will everybody now? Is the governor going to throw out the first pitch? Has that been lined up already?
That's what I was informed of. Of course, things could develop, things could change, but I will get that word out as soon as I have it. Chances are we have the governor throwing out the inaugural first pitch back to Paseo Stadium, and we will also be handing out hardware from the 2015 championships. So everything is set for Friday night.
All right, and so what time should I be there? Should I bring any money? How much is beer?
Well, tickets to get in, $2 for adults, $1 for kids. Senior citizens is $1 as well. And usually the adult beverages are under $5, so $2 to $4 plus snacks. And of course, the traditional can't have a baseball game without pickled treats. They will be available at Paseo Stadium.
Now, who handles the concession for that?
I don't know who the vendor is this year, but I know we usually have one or two families that take care of the vendors, the drinks as well as the snacks, including hamburgers, hot dogs. You know, the regular assortment of items that they usually have at the stadium.
No, I've got Michael Knight here, and he's going to volunteer to cover the microphone for you when you need to go to the bathroom.
That sounds like a plan. I'm good. I'm down with that.
You know, a great promotion would be something like $1 beer night.
$1 beer night.
Oh man, you'd fill the seats. Yeah, or $2 beer and hot dog.
And usually they do that during the. I'm trying to remember what time. It's been so long. To the head, but usually they do that around like maybe towards the after the 7th inning stretch. They do sometimes do promotions on $1 bud. So come on down and get your beer for $1.
Okay, now a couple of
that's when all the players run up to go get their drinks.
Yes, they don't have it. We don't have that in the dugout, I guess. Hey, a couple of things, and finally on this one here, we've got $5 million, something like that. I guess they wanted to put another big ball field stadium. They're referring to it in South.
I heard of that. I don't know if it's really a stadium or if it's just a field. Remember, there is a difference between a stadium. Yeah. A stadium is an actual facility. Field would be an area to play. I haven't gotten all the details in regards to that, but I am crossing my finger and hoping that something does come back into the Paseo Stadium, because I know that they're budgeting for, I believe it's the Gigo Gym, the something else up in Gigo, as well as a couple things down south. Hopefully they'll be able to have something also set aside for Paseo Stadium.
I sure would like a further conversation. Rather than spend all of that money on something that the government of Guam needs to build and then maintain, I'm wondering if there's a way that we might be able to use that as seed cash to get with some other sponsors and other athletic minds and use those dollars to stand up something that can become something like a public-private partnership where... Government land will use the government seed money, but somebody else will have the license to take care of the facilities and see to it that they're always being used, that we're always getting money at the gate, and that we're always being able to take that money and turn it into maintenance and make sure that the lights get changed and make sure that we've always got fresh string in the basketball hoops and we've got pumps for the basketballs and all of the things that you need to run this, because you know how we're lousy at maintenance around here.
Yeah, well, like I've always been saying too for years, like with Paseo, for example, the issue isn't, doing it. The issue is maintaining it. You need to have somebody with the know-how and the knowledge of what needs to be done to prepare and fix and maintain the facilities. I mean, I remember years ago when Mark Sharpers was running the GML, the BBL, he was out here by his own self doing the cutting of the grass on the field, so because he knew that the field had to be maintained this many times. You need somebody with the know-how that knows. You got to have somebody that for one, if it's basketball, you got to have somebody who loves the game. That way they know what the facility requires. When it comes to the baseball diamond, you need to have somebody with the know-how with the baseball to understand what needs to be done to the stadium. I mean, a prime example with Paseo is in case nobody knows, Paseo Stadium is actually not technically on Guam, because the area was actually a dump that was built land after the war time.
After the war, yeah. You look at the old maps of Guam, there's a little bit of a bump there, but they filled in the rest of it with the rubble of Agana, basically, when they flattened everything out and bulldozed it into the ocean. And there's guys that do, every once in a while, some archaeological stuff and find things that were inland by about a half a mile. No, that's a true fact that you're talking about there. But, when I think about things that might be alarming down the road, is a conversation about taking the property that is on T needs in the athletic zone and handing that to the mayor of Barrigada. I love Junie. I love Jess. But I tell you what, there are things that they are good at, and there are things that they are not good at. And it seems to me that you get some bright minds, license the place out, figure out how somebody else, a third private party, can come through there, dress the place up, and make it something that people will want to go to, as opposed to outside of the big football field and the baseball area that just got redone. The rest of it is a slum. And so I'd like to see some real thought get put into things like that, as somebody that uses those facilities and somebody that knows a lot more people that would like to. Mark, hey, listen, good luck to you. May the 11th. What time did you say we need to show up?
Well, game starts at 7, so prior to that, about 6:30, I will be making announcements, and we'll be handing out the hardware. So if you want to get a good seat, better come between 6 and 6:30. I'll be there already.
Okay.
Set up and get ready with the equipment.
All right. Eric wants to know if we're going to bring GML back to live television.
I am working to, I don't know about that, but I am working on, I'm going to try to see if it works. I'm going to try to do the live Facebook feed during the course of the game, along with doing my live in-game updates on the Facebook page as well. So at least that's one step closer to, getting more out there.
Well, I'm here to tell you that there's a lot more time being spent on little screens than there were on the television screens these days. I'll talk to you soon, Mark. Good luck to you. 6:52 in the morning. That's the voice of the GML, Mark Colby, with your invitation to go and watch the game. The GML is back at the stadium at the Paseo, and there is going to be baseball. And there's a part of me that obviously you want things to get all dressed up and pretty and painted but you know what? It's baseball, right? It's baseball. Right. As long as you can get 9 guys out in the field to play ball, then I think everything is going to be all right. Somebody's going to bat and catch and throw, and there'll be slides into home and first base. It'll be just a wonderful thing to behold. And I know there's a lot of baseball fans that have been waiting for a long time to get these kinds of things done. And I'm waiting for somebody to chime in and say, fix with all that money that the government of Guam is going to be getting from these federal grants, any chance you think maybe we might be able to, reopen the Dededo pool? I think that's one of the things that might still be lingering from before. As I said earlier in the program, in case you missed it, there was a very interesting story on KUAM last night. And all of a sudden, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to pull it up. It's possible. Where's this? Now I'm gonna have to restart something here. Not the whole computer. I just got to restart the place where I got it all set up. And as I said, a very interesting story this morning from Chris Barnett. And he was following up on some of the other things. This is going to be one of my drat moments, I think. Yeah, I see it. Okay. Well, without the setup, let's go ahead and play it.
Governor of Palm Bay State Communications Director Troy Torres firing off letters to the legislature, alleging he helped cover up the sexual harassment of a former Adelup staffer, allegedly committed by newly appointed Customs and Quarantine Director Eric Palacios. First, Customs officers saying Palacios tried to bring in forbidden items after returning from a trip to the Philippines. Butterfly knives. Now, it turns out the first cut may not have been the deepest. Former Adelup staffer Geraldine Castillo reluctantly telling KUAM News her side of the story after media reports revisited the 2011 allegations her superior, former Adelup staffer Natalie Kanata, made against Palacios on her behalf.
He would offer a hug. He offered massages. I dismissed it because, I could push away impliedly flirtatious comments. It's not a big deal to me. Everyone does it.
Castillo saying she brushed off inappropriate messages from Palacios, who was the director of the Guam State Clearinghouse at that time. But her superior raised the issue to Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio's former chief of staff, Dong Cho. Castillo says now Palacios' messages to her were highly inappropriate, but she said she felt like she didn't want to make a big deal out of it at the time. Castillo said she was then called into a meeting with Cho and Palacios, and they turned the tables on her.
Instead, I'm the one being punished, and so Eric just thought that it was just my agenda to do something against him.
The kicker, Castillo said she's aware of other women in the administration who have weathered unwanted advances made by Palacios, eerily echoing the Me Too movement. a man in a position of power over women, allegedly abusing his authority.
These are just experiences with Eric that women shared to me about him. These were said in confidence, so I can't share who they are. It just validates where I come from, you know, that I was one of them.
At the time this story broke, former Adelup Communications Director Troy Torres said the allegations of sexual harassment made against Palacios were, quote, sour grapes. But today, Torres tells KUAM News he was being Adelup's spin doctor when he gave comments to the media.
What I did was wrong. And in 2012, I think 2012 was when the story came out, I was just hell-bent on defending the administration.
Castillo saying Palacios even went as far as threatening her with litigation.
He said, like, oh, I could sue you for defamation of character. He never sued me.
Castillo would eventually be terminated for disclosing an internal memo. And she says Palacios was one of the people pushing for Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio's staff members to fire her.
Eric, who has no connection to my employment, has no authority over me, is telling Notch, you need to get rid of Jerry. I mean, not in those exact words, but clearly he was conveying to Notch and to Dong to get rid of me.
Torres also telling KUAM News in an exclusive interview he was abusing drugs during his time at Adelup, and it was no secret.
Ecstasy and methamphetamine.
And were you the only staffer that was using those drugs at the time?
Did the administration know you were doing drugs when you worked at Adelup?
Yeah. I've done drugs with a lieutenant governor candidate, a certain lieutenant governor candidate, just years ago.
So did the administration know that you were struggling
Yes.
with drugs at the time you were employed there?
Yeah.
Torres saying he's now clean and adds he would be willing to take a drug test to prove it.
Yeah, I'll do that. As long as it's not by the government of Guam, I mean, yeah.
For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
Brought to you by GTA.
Yeah, I'll keep playing the sponsor mention. That's okay. That's all right. And so that's where we are today. And the way the world turns around here now, we've got Troy Torres, and there's the Eric Palacios story, and then there's the other bomb. I don't know if you caught that at the end of it, but the claim that he did drugs with a certain lieutenant governor candidate who he did not name in there, but it's a short list of people that you need to go over, and by the process of elimination, you might actually be able to get close on those allegations that he is making today, sinking ship, and he's taking everybody down with him. And a point that Kevin was making during the deal here is what he essentially says is I was lying before.
Yeah.
I lied. I spun the truth before. But hey,
Believe me now.
Yeah, look at me now. I'm poor Troy, and I got drug problems, and I'm wearing a Superman shirt with no sleeves on it. Please, the governor's office and a statement. Gotta have a statement. His statement and erratic behavior speak more about him than anyone else. This is not the Troy we know. We continue to pray for him as he goes through this difficult time. 6:59 and change. The radio station is KUSG Hagåtña. That's our bank name. Our regular name is The Point. Fox News is coming up next. On the other side of that, Kevin Kerrigan with a look at all the big stories. Traffic beginning to build, moving through Dededo around the GRMC and Fatima Mobile. You might want to take your time through there. I'll give you the full report in the next hour of the program. Stick around, Brown. The Ray Gibson Show continues after these.
Live from New York, the Fox Report.
I'm Lisa Brady. Tomorrow's the day President Trump set to announce his decision on the Iran nuclear deal. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
With President Trump facing a May 12th deadline to decide whether to continue waiving key sanctions against Iran, the president said in a tweet that he'll announce whether the U.S. will remain in the Iran nuclear deal on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Germany, France, and the U.K. have lobbied the president to remain in the agreement, which the president has frequently criticized. And U.K. Foreign Minister Boris Johnson is in Washington to make a last-ditch argument to persuade the president to stick with the accord, arguing that it is flawed but can be improved. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani warned this weekend that the U.S. would face what he called historic regret if it pulled out. Lisa?
Thanks, John. At least 30 homes destroyed, some 1,800 people still evacuated as Hawaii's Kilauea volcano continues its latest eruption. Fox's William Lajeunesse on the Big Island.
What geologists believe is happening is that magma is basically migrating downstream, downslope, if you will, about 25 miles, and then it is venting out under the Lilani subdivision where those 700 or 800 homes are. And that lava pressure is what creates that 200 to 300 foot fountain of ash and rock and toxic gas.
Scientists say they can't predict how long it will last. Kilauea is the youngest and most active of the 5 volcanoes on the island. You can hear more about this on our podcast, the Fox News Rundown, tomorrow morning at foxnewsradio.com. The president's nuclear tease chilling a Wall Street rally for a while. But the Dow finishes up 94 points, the S&P up 9, the NASDAQ up 55. You're on the Fox Report. Fair and balanced.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,500 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 475-4545, Upper Tuon 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Capture moments with Mom forever and remember her special day.
Hi, Mom. Even though I always think about you a lot, you've been on my mind lately, especially with Mother's Day coming up. I'm definitely the proudest of all to be your daughter. Happy Mother's Day, my lady. I love you.
Happy Mother's Day. Get $50 off Samsung S9, S9 Plus, and a free wireless charger. Some conditions apply. Docomo Pacific, better together. Beautiful and the Ad Council.
The U.S. Attorney General visits San Diego, taking tough talk on immigration to the border. Fox's Gernal Scott has this live.
Lisa, Attorney General Sessions says from here on in, it will be zero tolerance for those illegally crossing into the United States.
That's why the Department of Homeland Security is now referring 100% of illegal southwest border crossings to the Department of Justice for prosecution.
Sessions says smuggling in illegal immigrants or children will mean a trip to jail, and he's added more prosecutors and judges to work these cases. Sessions says this is President Trump's directive. And while he knows many are leaving bad situations, he says the U.S. must limit who comes in. Lisa.
Thanks, Gernal. The White House says acting CIA Director Gina Haspel is 100% committed to her nomination to be chief after offering to withdraw.
She wants to do everything she can to make sure the integrity of the CIA remains intact, isn't unnecessarily attacked.
White House spokeswoman Sarah Sanders says Haspel faces questions about her role in harsh interrogation techniques after 9/11. After visiting schools and hospitals and meeting with social media companies for more than a year, First Lady Melania Trump officially launches her initiative aimed at helping children.
I'm very excited to announce Be Best, an awareness campaign dedicated to the most valuable and fragile among us, our children.
She'll focus on 3 key areas: physical health, cyberbullying, and opioid abuse. Walmart and Sam's Club will have new pharmacy limits on opioids, no more than a 7-day supply at one time. Walmart says both chains will also require electronic prescriptions for controlled substances beginning January 1st of 2020. In New York, I'm Lisa Brady on Fox News Radio.
GTA's best internet deal has arrived. With fiber internet, you get up to 50 megabits of data per second for only $50 per month. And if that's not enough, Fiber Internet 50 plan includes free Wi-Fi. But this offer will only last through the month of May. So sign up today and get ready for faster downloads, more streaming, a better gaming experience, and a stable connection across multiple devices. Conditions may apply. Visit GTA.net for more details. GTA, your island, your network.
Circle K has just made it easier to select products that are better for you and your healthier lifestyle. When looking for items that are low carb, low sodium, low calories, low sugar, high in antioxidants, or high in protein, just look for the easy to spot better for you labels so you can find these items at a glance. Come by and see for yourself. It has never been more convenient to fill up on anything and everything that are better for you. Circle K. Take it easy.
Manila, Osaka, Fukuoka.
Dreaming about your next vacation? With the FHB United Mileage Plus credit card, you can get 10% off on United Airlines flights from Guam to Manila, Osaka, or Fukuoka when you book your ticket by May 31. Book your flight on United.com at a United City ticket office or your local travel agency using promo code FHB18M. Visit FHB.com/United Fair Sale 18 for more details. Terms and conditions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1972.
Do you suffer from eye strain? If you work at a computer, follow the 20-20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, look 20 feet away for 20 seconds to reduce eye fatigue. Ensure you have the optimal prescription for your contact lenses and glasses. Early stages of common eye diseases typically have no symptoms and can only be detected with a comprehensive dilated eye exam. Call Lombard Health today to book an appointment at 989-4747. Guam's best eye care, one patient at a time.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 7 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The Vatican may have stripped former Guam Archbishop Anthony Apparon of his title following his canonical trial on sexual abuse and other allegations, but he's still welcomed by the Catholic hierarchy in Rome. Apparon seen in a video posted on YouTube attending the 50th anniversary of the founding of the Neo-Catechumenical Way last Saturday. Video was posted by the Vatican News. Apparon appears seated among cardinals and bishops on the stage holding a cane. They are listening to Pope Francis deliver an address to the crowd. In March, a Vatican tribunal found Apparon guilty of certain allegations without specifying which allegations he was found guilty of. Apparon left the island back in 2016 after child molestation charges against him surfaced. Apparon has maintained his innocence and appealed the guilty verdict. A homeless man charged with sexually assaulting and robbing a woman at Ipan Beach Park last week, but according to court records, he has denied any involvement. The magistrate's report filed yesterday, he told police he got the stolen vehicle he was caught in by trading 2 plates of crystal meth for it. The 30-year-old Benjamin Jesse Pablo, arrested in Talafofo Friday night after fleeing from police in a stolen black Camry. The vehicle was taken last week Tuesday from a woman who reported she'd been sexually assaulted at Ipan Beach Park. Friday night, police found Pablo in that stolen vehicle, pursued him through the village of Talafofo, where he was later apprehended after shots were fired. Pablo has been charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct, second-degree robbery, and theft by receiving a stolen motor vehicle. We'll have more news after this.
Smoky Mountain Barbecue. Howdy, folks. Can't get enough of my KFC Smoky Mountain Barbecue? I'm bringing more to Guam this month with my new KFC Smoky Mountain Grilled Barbecue Chicken. KFC's chicken coated with a sweet and smoky barbecue sauce. Oh, and by the way, Smoky Mountain Barbecue is still available on KFC's Extra Crispy Chicken and Boneless Strips. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Buenas and half a day, Guahu si Claire Menglotnya of Malolo, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi itanotmu, protect your land. When it comes to your family land, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
11 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. The Government Accountability Office will not be waiting on the results of soil sample tests before releasing its investigative findings on Agent Orange here on Guam, nor will it be conducting its own testing. According to a letter from GAO to Vice Speaker Therese Terlahi, a draft report of the GAO investigation is expected to be released later this month. The final public release anticipated by mid-July. The GAO says waiting on the final results of the soil sample testing would significantly delay the report. However, the office has reviewed the soil testing plan. Soil sampling was conducted here on Guam between April 23rd and 26th. Samples were shipped to 2 different laboratories for analysis. Split sampling adds an extra layer of accuracy to the results. The sampling was limited, however, to Andersen Air Force Base only, even though many veterans have reported that Agent Orange was used in other areas off base during the Vietnam War era. The final results of the testing expected within 60 to 90 days. Senator Tom Atta expects the controversial measure to give privately owned Monjita Farms a lease extension will come up for consideration during this month's session. The senator says the committee report on Bill 256 is still a work in progress, but he fully anticipates his bill will be reported out of the committee in time for the session. Bill 256 drew some criticism from some people over its proposed modifications to the original lease agreement for the land Monjita Farms now occupies. The Guam Economic Development Authority assigned the lease to Monjita after Kusan America Corp. Defaulted on a GITA loan for the 50 acres of leased public property. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Here's Ray with some weather.
I see partly sunny skies in the forecast today with isolated showers. Winds out of the east to about 20 miles an hour with highs near 88 degrees. It's easy to see this because this is our daily forecast at this time of year. Mostly cloudy skies today, some scattered showers. Look for isolated thunderstorms tonight with those east winds blowing about 15 miles an hour. Daytime highs, again, 88 degrees, and overnight lows should be about 78 degrees. Sunset tonight at 6:37. There has not been a green flash. I've been looking for it. I've been every time I have been out, I've been looking for the green flash. And what will always happen is the sun, it'll tantalize you. It'll go down. It'll get past the clouds that we can see. And then just as it gets to the horizon, there's all of these other clouds that are far, far to the east of us west of us that we can't see until the sun is actually behind it. And you go, oh, drat. Yeah. It's not going to be today.
Generally speaking, you're going to need a clear sky on the horizon to get that green flash.
And I don't know if we're going to get too much of that these days. We'll take a look at the map a little bit later on. 7:13, that's news and weather together here on The Point.
When you think about better water, think Kinetico softened water. Kinetico water conditioners work like no other, supplying a continuous flow of luxuriously soft water without disruption and without use of electricity. After all, better water flows from better thinking. Kinetico.
American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. Call American Water Tech at 649-2301 or email info@americanwatertech.com. Portions of the program brought to you by King's Restaurant, serving Guam favorites to families for over 40 years. King's Restaurant, always open and always local.
Did you hear that Morocco Equipment on Ipao Road in Tuning is now an employee-owned company? It's called an ESOP, or ESOP, which stands for Employee Stock Ownership Plan. Collectively, the employees now own Morocco Equipment. Morocco made this change in response to the U.S. military buildup on Guam to retain key employees and to recruit new ones. There's now strong motivation for employees as owners to take responsibility for their role in the company. If you're interested in talking to Morocco about future employment prospects, please apply through their webpage, moroccoequipment.com.
Gotcha. Portion of the program also brought to you by my friends over at First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with Ed. Yes.
Chili Smokehouse menu just got tastier with their new smoked honey chipotle short ribs, marinated and smoked for hours. Try the smoked honey chipotle short ribs and chicken combo, or enjoy the family combo with mouth-watering honey chipotle short ribs, Texas-sized baby back ribs, crispy chicken, and juicy barbecue chicken served with home-style French fries and corn on the cob. It's the Chili Smokehouse menu, now with smoked honey chipotle short ribs, available for a limited time. Chili's, more life happens here.
Morning talk that matters. The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
That's a fact, Jack. That's a fact, Jack. You know, there's a lot of interesting and tantalizing and provocative stories on the headlines involving some people that have been in the headlines recently. But if you allow me just an opportunity here, I'd like to stray from that here for just a second, and I'll tell you why. And it has everything to do with something that just, frankly, is not getting enough play. This is a life changer. This is a game changer. And most people don't know about it because most people don't live in the south of Guam. Most people have no idea that she says it's 10 years. I say it feels like longer than that. That the people of Moleso, they have a couple of bridges there that they have needed to get built over a long, long time. And there were disputes about getting their hands on the land, and there were disputes in the construction. And it's bridge construction, so it's a little bit more complicated than anything else. Got to be able to handle a lot of traffic down there and a lot of heavy traffic because the tour buses weigh more than regular cars to the degree that, you know, tour buses are still out there. But my friend Christina Kidd, very attractive lady and a nice phone with a good camera on it, took some video and posted it up on Facebook. So I've played this on our Facebook so you can see what it was that she was talking about. I don't know that you need to bring up the audio. I haven't cleared it for broadcast quality, but I do want to play it. Obviously, driving down the road. The caption, "Now this just made history. Morito bridges are finally done. It took about 10 years. No joke. But it's all done, and she's absolutely delighted about it. Shoot some video of that. Like I said, I think it's going to be a game changer. I think it's going to be one of those things that maybe help bring a little bit more commerce down there. Certainly going to make the folks that live in that island, in that part of the island, a whole lot happier. Can you imagine not having to worry so much about the traffic? Because it used to be stop and go. Because I drive down there, and if there's a car coming, you got to stop, wait for the guy, and then you wait until he passes.
I see. Single pass bridge.
Because the lane was that small.
Very rural.
Yeah. And can you imagine having to deal with that for as many years as they did? So congratulations, and I think that's a very, very cool thing. I'm happy to share that with the listeners, and who knows if the gasoline gets any lower than about $4.23 a gallon, I might actually drive down there. See if I can get my hands on some fresh produce. Maybe goof off over in the Billy Bay side. Used to dive down there, some nice caves from back in the day. Where do I need to go now? Is it time for the market report? It is. Let's go take a look at what happened in the markets. Everybody closed up in the green. Yes, S&P 500 up by 9 points, 2,672. The NASDAQ at 7265. They're up by 55 points. Dow Jones Industrial Average looking healthy today, 24,357. They picked up about almost 100 points. That's nice. The FTSE is up 64 points. The Nikkei off by about 5. It's not a big deal. 22,467. Hang Seng up by 67 points, almost 30,000 for them, and the Shanghai Index is at 3,136. They picked up 45.6 points. Now, one of the things that the Trilby Lundberg, and I didn't get the price of a gallon of gasoline in the States, what the high end is and what the low end is. I can look for it, but I'm lazy. So maybe if the producer, in between phone calls or something, can find those numbers, that'd be great. But oil, $70 a barrel. That's West Texas crude now trading at $70 a barrel. That is a psychological high watermark. You don't generally see those numbers for West Texas up as high as they are, and we've already seen the price of gasoline go up. And you can always tell. You get all these friends and family that we know that live in the States and all complain. Gasoline's at $2.65. I don't know how I'm going to get along.
Yeah, they're suffering.
One less latte, babe. How's that?
They're suffering at. Average U.S. gas price up 3 cents to $2.54 a gallon.
$2.54. Okay, Kevin's found one. AAA gas prices. What's that? National average is $2.81. Is that what that says?
Yeah.
Okay, $2.81. And so you go, hey, guess what? $4.23. Right?
Don't feel bad. They're paying over $5 in Hawaii. So.
Oh, that actually feels good. that actually does make me feel better. I don't know why. Just there's something, and I'm sure that most of it is a tax.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Most of that is a tax, and it's something to support. It's our uptight tax or something like that.
The tax and then the subtax and the tax on the subtax.
So I'm looking at the numbers for Tappas crude, and Tappas still trading about $74.87 or something like that, 97, and not quite $75 for a barrel of Tappas crude. Now tapas is the stuff that we get, and it's expensive. It is hands down expensive. Even if you compare it to West Texas, which is now $70, tapas is very expensive. Not, however, the most expensive that you are going to find. Now, I don't know that on the list that I've got, these are the most expensive, but there's certainly one at a high watermark. Russian oil, the Sokol oil, S-O-K-O-L, trades for $77.48. In Australia, they've got a Cossack oil. That's $75.99 based on today's trading. Brent crude. Brent, a lot of people, when they talk about oil, they'll talk about West Texas and Brent. Brent is the stuff that comes out of the North Sea.
I believe so, yeah.
And so it's expensive to take out of there. $75.49 for a barrel of that. There's a DAS that you can buy for $74.98, and Nigerian oil, Brass River, $76.39, the second highest that I've seen. So there are other places that have got to get. That's the raw product now that has not been refined and made ready for retail. So there are going to be places that are going to have a little bit tougher time with the prices of gasoline with these increases now. And there are a couple of stories that are talking about what may or may not happen. Trump says he'll announce an Iranian nuclear deal decision on Tuesday. That has already sent some prices lower, but not seeing it in anything that I'm looking at. Oil prices give up gains after Trump says he'll announce the Iran nuclear deal on Tuesday again. So we'll watch out for that. But for those of you that have stocks or equities that are indexed to oil prices, might be a rough patch for you tomorrow, depending on what the guys in the OPEC decide to do. 7:22 in the morning. So that's what's going on in the market. And right now, one of my favorite, and it's going to be hard to beat. We should have done we should have done yesterday's The Extra Point on Friday, right? Because it's going to be, people are going to say, how is Jerry going to beat that today? How is that going to happen today? And the answer is, I don't know, but Jerry's a consummate professional. We'll see what happens. Here is today's Extra Point.
Guam's workforce is likely going to get older. I'm Jerry Roberts, and this is going to bring about changes. Let's chew on this today on The Extra Point. With an increasingly higher cost of living, people today are working further into their lives and retiring later. This isn't going to be a short-term trend, and Guam is included in that. Seniors on fixed incomes here are being hammered by essentials going up: gasoline, food, utilities, health care, and more. Many who can work are being forced to do so. According to the National Council on Aging, by 2019, over 40% of Americans 55 and over will be employed, making roughly 1/4 of the U.S. labor force. We're going to see a lot more situations where someone in their 30s and even 20s will be put in a position of supervising people who are as old or older than their grandparents. Older workers and their managers both must be aware of challenges that face each as our workforce gets older. It's natural for both sides to be apprehensive. Common sense and understanding will help. Someone 65 or 70 isn't usually going to match the physical attributes or stamina of a 20-year-old. That said, their experience and maturity may more than make up for any physical deficiencies. Managers should always be mindful that these older workers have spent decades of life in the workplace and can be valuable resources to the organization. Remember this if someone takes a couple more sick days than normal. Like all other manager-employee relationships, it's the manager's responsibility to initiate things and plant positive seeds. The senior employee will be inclined to sit back and wait to see what kind of treatment they receive. The key is for managers to generate and then maintain open communication, which will help to bridge gaps in age and get the focus where it should be on the worker feeling valued and comfortable in their job and on productivity. Jenna Goudreau, who has written for Forbes and Business Week, suggests that managers treat each employee as an expert and encourage them to contribute ideas. But don't be afraid to be the boss. Good advice. Seniors generally respect authority, and if you're giving them respect, they're likely to return the favor. Now the law. The Federal Age Discrimination in Employment Act, ADEA, protects people 40 and over from discrimination. Simply, age has to be a non-factor in how managers approach workers. If older workers feel that younger coworkers are favored and they can support their claims with compelling evidence, your company could have labor problems. If you're a manager in this situation, get with your HR lead and know the law. Then make the senior workers feel so good about working with you that nobody ever even thinks about it. If you're the senior worker with a young manager and they're trying their best, give them a break. You know it's not easy. That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, I'm Jerry Roberts.
Am I supposed to feel sorry for the younger ones? Is that what is that? What? Hey, listen. I don't know about you. I speak for myself, but I think I can speak for Mike too. Us senior members of the team around here probably run circles physically around some of the other members of the team. Who here is awake at 4 o'clock and in the office at 5?
Yeah. They're young. They'll learn.
Yeah. What was it? The guy says, "I won't let my opponent's youthfulness and ignorance." Was it Reagan said in the debate? Yeah. I'm lousy at paraphrasing, but I remember the moment because I'm senior like that. The only thing that I would ever want, the only thing that I'd ever ask for, if I wasn't holding the position, if I had to go and work someplace where my supervisor was younger than me, the only thing that I'd ask for, a nap.
There you go. There we go.
Tell you what, in fact, I feel like a break now. Be right back.
Are you a veteran or on active duty looking for a home loan and VA eligible? Then Bank Pacific stores are open to you, where we are a VA approved preferred lender. That simply means we can give you faster credit approvals and loan closing. And with today's super low rates, you just can't go wrong. Bank Pacific's My VA Loan, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, credit conditions apply. Viva Bank Pacific.
Are you a homeowner looking to save money on your power bill? Ever thought about getting solar on your roof? If the answer is yes, Micronesia Renewable Energy will install a solar energy system on your roof for zero money down, so you can save money on your power bill. Sign up in the month of May, and MRE will pay you $400 in cash. That's right. In the month of May, get a solar energy system on your roof, and MRE will pay you $400 just for signing up. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
Ronald Wilson Reagan said, "I will not make age an issue of this campaign. I'm not going to exploit for political purposes my opponent's youth and inexperience." A great one from the great one in the 1984 presidential debate, because he was at 73. He was asked if he was too old to be the president. The line, a classic example of Reagan's sense of humor, solicited a laugh even from his opponent, Walter Mondale. It's 7:28 in the morning, and time to take a look at traffic, see what the tea leaves are saying. It looks like most of the traffic, most of the places I'd normally find a lot of traffic right now, beginning to build up because it's still early. You will find a line of traffic headed southbound to Marine Corps Drive leading into Guam Regional Medical City. And that traffic from Guam Regional Medical City onto Marine Drive is beginning to build right now. Don't see anything else that's going to slow you down. 8, 10, and 16 look clear. Starting to see traffic build up in the Mangilau area. The intersection leading into Mangilau, Route 10, Route 4, starting to get busy. It looks like traffic that's trying to turn onto Route 10. So a little bit of patience there might be helpful. It's 7:28. That's right now traffic on the point.
I didn't realize you used tea leaves. I thought you were using runes.
Hey, sorry about that. Yeah. Every once in a while I'll throw some bones too. But yeah, the traffic gizmo's looking good today.
Don't wait another day and waste another dollar. You can start saving today. At Guahan Insurance Services, we are here to help protect your investment and save you money. We offer insurance advising for business, car, and home insurance. So come and visit us at our new office at Camacho Landmark Center at Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning, and let us show you that you can count on us for all your insurance needs. Call 475-1162.
Yeah, buddy. It's 7:29 in the morning. Headlines coming up right around the corner. Kenley and Guerrero's probably going to stick with me for a couple of minutes, but I do need to take a break. We were talking about, what was it that we were talking about just a second ago? When our when our mainland friends start complaining about gas prices there.
Yeah, you're familiar with North Carolina, and I had a lot of friends that lived in High Point and Kingsborough that worked in Raleigh. And when I lived in Reno, there were thousands of people who lived in Reno that worked in the Bay Area. So when you look at where people live and where people work there, and because they're driving between 80 and 120 miles each way, they get these big cars that are comfortable. So they're all driving V8s 200, 300 miles a day. So that's why they whine about $2 gas.
Oh, yes, but they'd still whine here. I think geography doesn't have anything to do with it. A whiner is going to be a whiner. Yeah,
Well, I'm one of them because with the increases in gas prices, being a senior citizen on a fixed income, it's really cut into my travel around here on Guam. And I have a 4-banger pickup.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying. In fact, I think about you now as as I'm filling up the gas. Not filling up the gas. As you say, there is a budget, and my budget for gasoline is about $50. And there was a time where for $50 I could put all the gas in the car and then still have enough to go inside and buy a 6-pack of whatever it was I was drinking at the time, and Mountain Dews and Slim Jims, right? But anymore, $50 if I hold the car right, if I shake all of the air out, it might take me to within an eighth of a tank of full. So I'm doing okay. But then I've got to pay close attention to how much driving I'm doing. And how long it takes. It used to be, never used to think twice about, gee, I forgot something at the house, and just zip back to the house, go pick it up, come zip back to work, do all of that stuff. Now I look at it and say, okay, well, that's going to be 15 minutes, and that's going to be, an eighth of a tank of gas, and it's going to this, that way. You know what? Maybe I can do without it. Maybe I can do without it.
This picture right now, because I'm standing here on the edge of my property, looking at Naval Mag. And there's a rainbow that's coming down into the middle of a herd of caribou standing over there by the admin building. I'm trying to get a picture of it as we're talking, but I mean the rainbow literally. So now we know it's at the end of the rainbow, and it ain't a pot of gold.
Caribou.
It's
a pot of something.
It's Caribou Tucky. That's what's at the end of the rainbow. 732.
I got proof right here.
So, just remember.
Well, you never know until you get to the end of the rainbow what's there. So there may be a pot of gold.
There could be. It's just covered in caribou poop.
Are you willing to dig for it? That's the question.
Yes.
At 2,000, what was it? What's it? 1,300 now.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. No. This crowd, the people that listen to this radio station, would dig in feet of poop in order to get to gold, because we understand the value of it. But you get some of these millennials, they'll just want to stand around and take pictures, right?
You don't have to dig for it. It's right there at the end of the rainbow. All you got to do is get there.
So haul your oats.
The vaunted iPhone camera, because I can see the rainbow, but when I take the picture, all you can see is kind of like a hint of yellow in the sky and a herd of caribou. It doesn't show up on the rest of the caribou herd.
You'll have to Photoshop it in.
I'll send it to you.
You're the man. I'll talk to you pretty soon. Ken Leon Guerrero. And as I said earlier, a very interesting article, the editorial that he's got in today's Guam Daily Post, which you should be reading every single day. If you have to make a choice, that's the paper I'd go with. It's 7:33. And speaking of the Guam Daily Post, here's some headlines now with Kevin Kerrigan from the Post.
Hafaday and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Daily Post this morning, members of the administration's finance team hoping to collect at least $20 million in the next 3 months from the tax amnesty that took effect yesterday. Deputy Revenue Tax Director Marie Benito says there's no way of knowing for sure, but the 2008 amnesty raised more than $20 million. She hopes at least another $20 million will be raised this time. Acting Bureau of Budget Director Lester Carlson also expressing the same hope. Carlson says the additional funds from the amnesty haven't been earmarked yet, but he expects it may be used to pay tax refunds unless the legislature acts to appropriate the funds for something else. A 57-year-old woman says she fell victim to identity theft after paying her Docomo Pacific cell phone bill in January. She says she noticed about $800 had been spent without her knowledge during the month after she paid the bill. She suspects a Docomo employee who helped her while she paid the bill. The employee took her credit card to the back of the store out of her view, she said. A month later, when she got her credit card bill, she noticed unauthorized purchases totaling about $800. She put the card on hold, filed a report with the credit agency. Last Friday, she got the credit report, which she claims confirmed her suspicions. She reported it to Docomo and police. Docomo spokesman Ken Quintanilla saying they're aware of the complaint and cooperating with law enforcement. Estumbo Elementary School has saved about $85,000 in janitorial services by having students and staff do the cleaning themselves. The savings have allowed the school to buy much-needed supplies and equipment. Principal Derek Santos and his staff got approval to opt out of the Guam DOE custodial contract so they could use the money allotted for cleaning on other school needs. Their self-cleaning program was implemented last summer. The money formerly reserved for cleaning services has been invested in purchasing whiteboards, multimedia sets, and other needed school supplies. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
iConnect time is 7:35. Connect longer for less with iConnect's push-to-talk and mobile plans.
In this divided world, there are still a few things that unite us. The thrill of an exciting championship game.
Fires to the end zone. Touchdown!
The sound of great music.
The Grammy goes to...
And the love we have for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam presents to you For the Love of Burgers menu. For a limited time, we want you to put down that fork, tuck that napkin in your collar, and go for broke with an amazing burger for just $11.99. 8 burgers to try, and time isn't wasting. Ruby Tuesday Guam lunchtime. See you soon.
Now to look at traffic before things get too hectic. Traffic building in all of the usual places. Is it slowing down anywhere? You know, there was a line of traffic moving in front of, you know where Guam Tropical Dive Station is near the mobile station? Looked like there was a little bit of a slowdown northbound in that direction as you make your way towards Docomo, but it looks like that might have cleared up in the last couple of minutes. Route 8, 10, and 16 is looking good. Still fairly clear right now, but you're going to get some slowing down on Route 8 after you've managed to escape that intersection. Traffic beginning to build up and down Route 10 towards the schools and the gas station and the Payless Market through there, and things might be getting a little bit busy by the time you get to the intersection of 4 and 10. Moving into the downtown Hagetnya area, traffic building up in the usual places. Route 7 going to behind the green swimming pool, and then traffic up on Route 4 in both directions beginning to build up through there. Marine Corps Drive, yeah, there that is again. The traffic gizmo keeps telling me that there's something that might be slowing you down. Maybe just extra cars on the road, or maybe there's a line at the Infusion Drive. I don't know. 7:37, that's what's going on right now. Traffic on the point.
Capture moments with Mom forever and remember her special day.
All I ever want is you.
Hi, Mom. Even though I always think about you a lot, you've been on my mind lately, especially with Mother's Day coming up. I'm definitely the proudest of all to be your daughter. Happy Mother's Day, my lady. I love you.
Happy Mother's Day. Get $50 off Samsung S9, S9 Plus, and a free wireless charger. Some conditions apply. Docomo Pacific, better together.
What shall we riff on now? Huh? That's one of my favorite lines. Guys in the talk radio business, and sometimes you just here's the topic and then riff. Just go and see where it takes you. Other guys call it a stream of consciousness, but that presumes that I am conscious. People, they say, I don't understand how it is that you do what you do. You get on the radio show and you do these interviews and you have all of these topics and you talk. How do you do that? And the answer is, I've been awake longer than anybody. I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm at my desk before 5 o'clock. I have already been caffeinated by the time most people just get started with their day. So that's how that's done. And if you want to do it too, no problem. All you got to do is commit to waking up, which is hard. Can I just tell you, that's probably the hardest part of this gig, isn't it? Is that first couple of minutes when the alarm goes off, and you start kind of negotiating with the day.
Give me 3 more minutes, 5 more minutes.
Yeah, just one more trip to the snooze bar. Is it last call at the snooze bar already? Just one more of those, and then I leap out of bed and do that. But that's I get it. There's a lot of other people that have got those early mornings as well. There's the guy at the Guam Daily Post who beats me to the office because the newspaper's already here when I get in. So one of the things I like to do is the Trump tweets while we line up a couple of phone guests here. And his tweet today, actually a couple of interesting tweets that he's got. I will be announcing my decision on the Iran deal tomorrow from the White House at 2 p.m. And will that make a difference in the price of gasoline? Not right away, I don't think. He's also talking about the National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, and all of the numbers are in. A record broken, nearly 1 million pounds of prescription drug pills have been disposed. Let's keep fighting this opioid epidemic, America. And one of these days, remind me, that might be interesting to talk to a doctor and find out about how the opioid epidemic is affecting us here on Guam. Is there some? Do you know somebody that has got issues with something that might have started off with just going to the doctor and saying, hey, my back hurts? You know, is pulling weeds, or I know a guy, me, and at least one other person. You ever get that wrench in your back? You ever pick up something wrong, or you bend over and you're lifting something and it pulls your back, and then you cry like a woman and you can't get out of bed for 2 days? You ever have
Pinch a nerve? Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's happened to me. And the last time it happened to me, it happened because I was putting my socks on, and I swear to God, I pulled too hard and wrenched my back, and I went to the doctor. And the doctor said, I can give you this pain medication. And it wasn't the usual. It wasn't, it was an opioid. And I thought, wow, lead me not into temptation. And so I turned him down on it. I said, no, I think maybe with just some extra strength Tylenol. And, after a while, you take some of those things. It's like Tic Tacs, right? Is that all it took? That and Bengay, and there was a whole other litany of other things, and beer. But I finally got. But the thing was, it was just the guy was really kind of anxious. Not anxious, but he was try this, and you might enjoy it. And I've had Percocets before. And I find that I can't, some of these harder pain pills, right? I find that I can't eat a whole one because it makes it so that I'm mentally and physically useless as opposed to just physically useless. So I've taken to eating them in half doses.
Yeah, well, the fact is, when you take one, you are supposed to pretty much negate all other activities.
Well, yeah, but, I get it, but I did not want to... I didn't want to get used to that because I know people that have, and they just, you look at anybody's medicine cabinet. Do you do that, by the way? When you go to somebody's house for a party?
Oh, and look in their medicine cabinet.
Yeah. You ever just peek in there, see what's there?
Yeah, I have. Generally speaking, I'm not a nosy person, so if it's already open, sure, I'll kind of peek inside. But if I leave things shut, I'm kind of polite that way.
Okay.
So invite me over sometime. I promise I won't look through your stuff.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And this is going to be one of those embarrassing moments. We're working from two different phone lists today and yesterday's phone list. And I got somebody from yesterday's phone list, and I, honest to God, can't remember why I needed to talk to Peter John Camacho. But here I am. I do. Good morning, Peter. How you doing?
I'm good, sir. How about yourself?
I'm not bad, and there he goes again, calling me sir all the time. How's everything going? How's everything going over at my other favorite hospital?
We're doing okay, sir. We're doing okay, and by the way, condolences, sir.
I appreciate that. He enjoyed our conversations very much.
He's a good man.
Thank you for saying so. The family will appreciate it. So I was looking at I'm trying to figure it out now. There's a picture floating around of you and Troy Torres or not Troy Torres. I'm sorry, Dennis Rodriguez, who is lined up on him with a whole other story. So you got a proclamation for GMH?
We did. It was this week is the national celebration of Hospital Week across the country. We pause to honor the men and women, and other key people who take part in hospital work, hospital activities. And so yesterday was our opening ceremonies, proclamation signing, and some recognition of, folks that have done really well this past year, and we're being honored for that work.
All right. Well, I thought it might have been awkward, and I didn't really, make much of the positioning of the different people. But I noticed that there was some space between you and Dennis Rodriguez, who had just a month ago or so had called for an investigation of Guam Memorial Hospital. Was that kind of an awkward get-together? Did you have a chance to, hands across the water, make the peace?
It was okay. I think my front porch was actually getting in my way.
Oh. All right. So there are a couple of other points besides the Hospital Week proclamation and the get-together, the grip and grin, as Simon Sanchez calls it. The Joint Commission has come and gone. Have you gotten anything back from them? Any preliminary comments on some of the things that they were looking at?
Not yet, sir. Not yet. We were waiting for feedback on our plan of corrections we have submitted to them.
Yes.
That has not been responded to us yet. And then, as you know, CMS was here, and we're waiting for them to give us the report that that they will have put together.
Now, they did find something, I guess, with regard to the anesthesiologists.
Not the anesthesiologist, is the nurse anesthetist. They had raised the question, and after consulting with, obviously, Kevin Hitosis, the chairperson of the Guam Board of Nurse Examiners, and taking a look at what the federal requirements are, and what the Guam Nurse Practice Act requires, it was determined by the Guam Board of Nurse Examiners that in their particular practice as nurse anesthetists, because they are working immediately, perioperatively in a hospital situation, it would not be a situation like a nurse in a clinic, perhaps, who may be prescribing medications to the staff. To patients. But what we've decided, and so we're going to take a look at the medical staff bylaws that had put in that requirement for nurse anesthetists to have a DEA number, and seeing what they're able to do with that understanding from the professionals in the nursing field, and see if that can be modified. But also, just so that we avoid any kind of future issues, if you're a nurse anesthetist working at the hospital, you will be required to provide a DEA number. Our nurses, our nurse anesthetists, have actually applied through public health for the Guam Controlled Substance Registry number, and then that is used by them to apply to the federal DEA for that particular number.
So if I understand the story right, though, they weren't necessarily in violation of any CMS code or federal code as much as it was a violation of local policy that was brought up. So I mean, they could do it and still not get in any kind of trouble with the federal government in terms of reimbursement or policy. It's just the local side that needs to be adjusted.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And like any other regulatory agency, they will take a look at what the federal requirement would be, which would be the standard, if you will. And if your local requirements are more restrictive, more strict, then they will look at how you comply with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you might get pinched for being out of compliance with your own regulations as opposed to being out of compliance with the state side, with the CMS regulations.
We may be, but as I indicated, Ray, we are going to go ahead and actually the doctors, because as you remember, the medical staff is an independent organization that is, that works with the hospital, providers, doctors, nursing professionals, our advanced practice nurses, and other physician extenders, if you will, are an independent body, and so we need to work with them collaboratively to make sure. But we've raised that issue already with our associate medical director, and so he's working on that with the hierarchy of the medical staff.
Are you conflicted? Let me switch gears on something else that I found was very interesting. The RFP that has gone out for health insurance for employees and retirees of the government of Guam. The current RFP stipulates that anybody that comes through, the successful bidder, has to make sure that they incorporate care at Guam Regional Medical City, as in addition to Guam Memorial Hospital and a variety of the other practitioners here on Guam. The point that is made by the guys over at Take Care, in addition to it probably being a violation of the law, is that any monies that goes to GRMC would be dollars that would be diverted from patient care at Guam Memorial Hospital. How do you line up on that particular issue? I mean, as a healthcare issue, and as the boss at Guam Memorial Hospital, I'm sure you have an opinion on it. Can you share it with me?
I sure can. And since I've been back, and working with all of the challenges and other issues that we face on our island, we believe that GMH needs GRMC, needs GMH. And so it is a situation, Ray, where we need to have both hospitals survive and succeed in order to be able to provide the level of care that we need to provide for the residents of our island homes.
But do you think it is fair that a private entity is being required by the RFP to do business with another private entity?
I will defer that to the folks who are a lot smarter than I am. I'm more concerned about making sure that we are able to provide the services that our people need. That for me is the bottom line, and we just need to make that happen. And Ray, we can't go back to one hospital island anymore, right? There's just no way. It's not feasible. I mean, remember the days of GMH and the code red, code yellow, code green.
Oh my, yes.
Stacking patients in the hallways because we're full, and never mind that we're full, but we would make sure that we're still providing the care that that the patients needed. But why go back to that kind of a situation or scenario when there are two hospitals on island who are open to the general public. We know that Naval Hospital is also available for civilian humanitarian types of situations, and so it's a system that can work and should work for the benefit of our people.
Well, it's an interesting middle ground because, as I say, it seemed to me the folks over at Take Care were trying to side a little bit more with GMH and saying, any money that goes to this other private entity here is money that would be diverted from Guam Memorial Hospital. And GMH's position, well, at least your personal position, is going to be, now it's okay. It's good to have two hospitals around here, so everybody going to be okay. But it is at the end of the day interesting to me that requirement is put in there. It just seems to me that there ought to be a requirement if we're going to require this private entity to do business with another private entity. Maybe can we also insist that they do business with Navy Hospital? Let's toss that in there because they're a good facility too, right?
And I think if it's not going to be spent on island, I think that's the thing, spent on island as opposed to having people go off island because that service is not available at GMH, for example.
I understand. Hey, listen, next time we get caught up, maybe we'll talk numbers with me and you and Benita. Are you guys any closer to getting that, $25 million QuickBooks system? I'm really working hard on that. I want you to know. I want you guys to get that system.
Thank you for your support. And, we're working on it. We're hoping that working with the senators, we can make sure that we have that, as part of our of one of the needs that will be addressed.
All right, we'll just have to find the money for it. I'll talk to you pretty soon, Peter John.
I'm going to do my best to make sure I don't call you sir so much.
That's all right, sir. I'll see you soon. 7:53, and the Ray Gibson Show. Peter John Camacho from Guam Memorial Hospital. Interesting, and interesting comments. Like I said, you got the guys over at Take Care that are trying to go to bat. I mean, obviously they're going to bat for themselves too. Going concern and all, but saying, hey, but if you think about it, it's less money for GMH. And here's the guy that runs GMH saying, no, it's all right. Romy's chiming in on the chat, says more than $250,000 in salary, and he's not smart enough to explain the Take Care issue, which is relevant to all healthcare consumers on Guam. All right, we'll Guam blog that a little bit later on. Maybe there's some new art that we could come up with. Oh, I don't know, but certainly some interesting conversations that are taking place. The latest on that is, my understanding is that Take Care has now taken their protest to the OPA's office, which is the next step to take in concerns like this, and we'll watch and see. I know enough from working with the OPA and trying to do interviews at times like this that she's rather hesitant to talk and spill the beans on where we are in the process. I'll let you know when we've made our decision on whether or not we've lined up with Take Care or whether we're lining up with the Department of Administration. But it is certainly going to be interesting. We've watched that before. In fact, my the last time we had that conversation with the OPA on a big deal was Lotte DFS Guam International Airport, and what an interesting go-round that has been. You've been paying attention to that since the beginning. I think you and I were on the first couple of Rolodex phone calls out of DFS.
That appeal is on hold because it's in Superior Court.
Right?
Yeah.
But there have been changes now to the relationship between the Guam International Airport and Lotte.
Yes,
they had asked for, and this is not the first time, they had asked for a reduction in rent. And
they got it.
Previous to this, though, they had not gotten it. So I'm wondering what has changed.
Well, there's there's a couple of factors there, but the biggest one, according to the airport, is the construction project, which has reduced the size of Lotte's retail space and therefore justifies the reduction in lease payments. That's according to what was said in court.
Okay, and I don't mean to quiz you, but what space are we talking about? I thought it was going to be adding a different level. Or
Yeah, it's the third floor project, but Lotte and the airport both say that it's impinging upon the retail space, and they've had to reduce Lotte's retail space. The construction project is going to be... What is it, 24 months of construction?
I
bang,
guess.
bang, hammer, hammer.
I guess.
Dust falling.
Do we know
what
what the reduction is? What the reduction in the rent is? Because was it $15 million?
$175,000 a month reduction, $2.1 million annually.
Oh, that's
loss of income for the airport.
All right. Well, so we'll see where the shoe is going to drop from the DFS guys. My understanding is DFS came through and said, "Wait a second, what kind of secret agent deal is this?"
Yes, right. That was quite an argument in Superior Court Friday.
Yeah. You know, is there provision in the agreement that was signed a few years ago for something like that, and based on the judge,
there was.
But didn't the judge void that?
Yeah, the judge voided the original agreement. But
so based on what grounds could they have made a change on the agreement?
I'll send you something.
You'll send me something? Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I haven't been debriefed by the lawyer, but it's always been an interesting conversation when we start talking about some of the things and the great deals that some people have gotten in the past. Yes, sir.
Is that another form of equalization?
I think
Just
equalization.
asking.
Equalization might be the term, but as I said, it's interesting. Like I said, you'd think that they'd want to rebid something like that and say, okay, there's going to be some changes, and if there are provisions in the contract, is not the contract been voided by the judge? Everything is under appeal right now, but it's going to be one of those things that's going to be with us for an awful long time. And one last thing before we conclude this hour and move into the next hour of the Ray Gibson Show. Fox News Live coming up. Kevin Kerrigan with more headlines. Blake Watson's got sports, etc. But here's where my brain is. You remember yesterday we were talking, and that terrible story about that jackass down in Ipan that accosted the women, allegedly raped one of them, ran away in a car, and so the cops found him in the car. And now you remember what I said yesterday? I said just at some point, ICE is going to join the conversation.
Sure.
The word ICE will come up in this conversation. It's not just a homeless criminal sexual conduct case. There's drugs going to be behind this somewhere. And sure enough, the guy claimed to the police officers that it was his car. He traded it for plates of ice or something along those lines. It'll be interesting to watch where the rest of that story comes out. But I'm here to tell you, it's the whole ICE will shatter your life thing. I thought it was bad in the 90s. I thought it was bad in the 2000s. Here we are almost at the end of the 10s, and it just keeps getting worse. I'm trying to figure out where the lessons are that these guys aren't getting, and who is it that in this day and age, better than a generation of our island's people have had to deal with ICE and the scourge of ICE and the crime that comes along with it. Who in their right mind would try it once, knowing that probably before they got a chance to try it twice, they'd be addicted already?
And the sad part is this is epidemic with islands.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Hawaii's had that problem for years. I mean, I don't know how islands wind up having meth problems. It boggles my mind.
Can you imagine? What's wrong? You don't like the sunset? You're going to need to take some ice? Don't like the laid-back style of life we've got here? I don't know. 8 o'clock in the morning, and the radio station is KUSG. Got you. Stand by now for Fox News Live. Like I said, got Kevin Kerrigan. He'll tell you all about the big stories. I got some traffic, and I might be able to throw in a line or two that entertain you and inform you. Last look at traffic before it gets to be 8 o'clock. 8, 10, and 16. All directions. Expect traffic. Here's the news.
Decision made. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump says he will announce tomorrow afternoon whether the U.S. will remain part of the Iran nuclear deal.
European allies have been pushing the Trump administration to stay in the deal. The United Kingdom's Foreign Secretary, Boris Johnson, visited the State Department Monday to meet with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Johnson wrote in the New York Times Monday that it would be a mistake to walk away from the nuclear agreement and remove the restraints that it places on Iran. European governments say they're committed to the agreement. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani said Monday his country could remain in the agreement if the other nations part of the deal stay committed.
Fox's Rich Edson at the State Department, and the president's nominee for CIA, Chief Gina Haspel, making the rounds with lawmakers ahead of a confirmation hearing later this week. Fox's Jared Halpern live on Capitol Hill.
The acting CIA director is expected to face questions in an open hearing Wednesday about her role in black site prisons where waterboarding was used as a form of enhanced interrogation after 9/11.
I'm very open-minded, as you know, and I have curiosity to hear what my other colleagues may have concerns over and the answers that they'll receive.
The Senate Intelligence Committee Democrat Joe Manchin, after a meeting in his office with Gina Haspel. Haspel says she looks forward to her hearing despite offering to withdraw her nomination. She does have full White House support, President Trump writing in a tweet, "Go Gina." Lisa.
Jared, at least 30 homes destroyed as Hawaii's Kilauea volcano continues to ooze lava.
Geologists believe one of those small earthquakes dislodged a plug in the volcanic lake near the top, sending millions of tons of thick lava, molten rock, down through a series of underground tubes beneath the subdivision.
Fox's William Lajeunesse on the Big Island. Some residents of the Leilani estates allowed back, but just to check on their property. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Chili Smokehouse menu just got tastier with their new smoked honey chipotle short ribs, marinated and smoked for hours. Try the smoked honey chipotle short ribs and chicken combo, or enjoy the family combo with mouth-watering honey chipotle short ribs, Texas-sized baby back ribs, crispy chicken, and juicy barbecue chicken served with home-style French fries and corn on the cob. It's the Chili Smokehouse menu, now with smoked honey chipotle short ribs, available for a limited time. Chili's, more life happens here.
When you think about better water, think Connecticut softened water. Connecticut water conditioners work like no other, supplying a continuous flow of luxuriously soft water without disruption and without use of electricity. After all, better water flows from better thinking. Connecticut.
American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. Call American Water Tech at 649-2301 or email info@americanwatertech.com.
Again making a trip to the border, promising tough punishment for those who try to cross the border illegally. Fox's Gernal Scott has this live.
Lisa, the Attorney General called it zero tolerance at the southwestern border, with more prosecutors and judges to crack down on illegal immigration. He said at this San Diego border stop that not only will unlawful immigrants be caught and jailed.
If you are smuggling a child, then we will prosecute you. And that child may be separated from you as required by law.
You may have heard there was a heckler in the background trying to talk over the Attorney General. Sessions says all of government knows this is a presidential priority and every resource will be used to tighten the borders, Lisa.
Gernal, federal, state, and local law enforcement announcing they've collected close to 1 million pounds of illegal drugs during the 15th annual National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day last month. Federal investigators want to hear from Jay-Z.
Securities and Exchange lawyers are demanding Jay-Z submit to unlimited questioning beginning Friday about a company to which he sold his apparel business Rocawear to. The commission has sought to depose Jay-Z as part of its probe into possible securities fraud in the reporting of financial results by Iconics Brand Group. Jay-Z's lawyers said he has agreed to appear for one day, but the agency wants more. The rapper has already ignored requests up to this point. His attorneys wrote in a submission that Jay-Z is concerned that the request is driven by more governmental fascination with celebrity. The SEC described Jay-Z as an important witness who has defied 2 lawful subpoenas. Michelle Polino, Fox News.
Relax, John Oliver fans. He's not really quitting. The host of HBO's Last Week Tonight said yesterday he's achieved all he wanted by having an Australian animal hospital special ward to treat a sexually transmitted disease among koalas named for him. But it was all a joke. He'll be back on the air next Sunday. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
Hey, it's your stomach again. Subway has all new signature wraps, and around the water cooler, the other stomachs can't stop talking about them. Chipotle Southwest steak and cheese, turkey, bacon, and guac, rotisserie-style chicken Caesar signature wraps. Listen, if I'm honest, as a talking stomach, I don't have a lot of life experience. But I do know one thing. These signature wraps are jam-packed with meat. So what are you waiting for? I'm growling over here. Subway, make it what you want.
Ready to buy real estate on Guam? Congratulations! But what now? There's so many questions, so many things to do. Where do you start? The best place to start is to call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty, Guam's biggest name in real estate. They aren't the best because they're the biggest. They're the biggest because they're the best. Trust the name. Find out why. Call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty today. 888-2121. Trust the best.
The Smartphone Super Sale event is back at GTA. We're dropping our prices on our most popular smartphones, including the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 and the latest Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus. Hurry in and save up to 60% off. These amazing deals won't last long, so come in and see us today. Conditions apply. Visit GTA.net for details. Offer ends May 31st. GTA, your island, your network.
For more than 40 years, we've managed our island's most precious resource, your health. Take Care's benefit plans allow members access to more than 120 medical providers, 40 dental providers, and 18 pharmacies in the region. Take Care's health plans ensure members in Palau, Saipan, and Guam receive the care they deserve. Our programs and wellness classes have proven results for our valued members, and our commitment to your health never been stronger. Take Care, our island, your health plan.
Manila, Osaka, Fukuoka.
Dreaming about your next vacation? With the FHB United Mileage Plus credit card, you can get 10% off on United Airlines flights from Guam to Manila, Osaka, or Fukuoka when you book your ticket by May 31. Book your flight on United.com at a United City ticket office or your local travel agency using promo code FHB18M. Visit FHB.com/UnitedFairSale18 for more details. Terms and conditions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 8 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Yet another allegation of priestly abuse. A 33-year-old man has come forward alleging he endured nearly 15 years of sexual molestation at the hands of Father Adrian Cristobal, the former Chancellor of the Archdiocese of Agana. The lawsuit, filed in Guam's district court by a person who used his initials JCC to protect his identity. JCC alleging the abuse began when he was 11 years old while he was an altar boy at San Roque Catholic Church in Barragata, where Cristobal served as parish priest until 2013. There are now just over 160 separate lawsuits against various past members of the clergy of the Archdiocese of Agana. In March of this year, Guam Archbishop Michael Burns announced that the Chancery Office and Archbishop's residence on San Ramon Hill in Agana would be sold in order to raise funds to help pay the settlement claims in those lawsuits. The Government Accountability Office will not wait for the results of soil sample tests before releasing its own investigative findings on Agent Orange here on Guam, nor will it conduct its own testing. According to a letter from GAO to Vice Speaker Therese Terlahi, a draft report of the GAO investigation expected this month, final public release not expected until mid-July. The GAO says waiting on the final results of the soil sample testing would significantly delay their report. However, the office has reviewed the soil testing plan. Soil sampling was conducted between April 23rd and 26th here on Guam. Samples were shipped to 2 different laboratories for analysis. Split sampling adds an extra layer of accuracy. The sampling was limited, however, to just Andersen Air Force Base, although many veterans have reported that Agent Orange was widely used during the Vietnam War era here on Guam in other areas off base. The final results of the testing expected within 2 to 3 months. We'll have more news after this.
The employees of Morrico Equipment on Guam have something very special all to themselves every morning they go to work, and that is pride. They have pride in the Morrico Equipment logo, and they have pride in wearing the Morrico Equipment uniform. They have pride in driving each Morrico Equipment service truck and in operating the Morrico Equipment lowboy heavy haul tractor. Morrico Equipment employees have pride in their company because they own the company. Morrico Equipment is now an employee-owned company. If you would like to join the Morrico Equipment ESOP team, please apply via morricoequipment.com.
What would you do with unlimited internet? With Docomo Pacific, the possibilities are endless. Docomo Pacific is throwing off the data caps so you can enjoy more of the things you love. Watch, stream, download, and play with no end in sight. Stop by any of our stores or check out DocomoPacific.com to learn more. Life becomes limitless with Docomo Pacific. Better together.
11 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. A homeless man has been charged with sexually assaulting and robbing a woman at Ipan Beach Park, but according to court records, he has denied any involvement in that incident. The magistrate's report on 30-year-old Benjamin Jesse Pablo says that Pablo told police he got the stolen vehicle he was caught in by trading 2 plates of crystal meth for it. Pablo was arrested in Talafofo Friday night after fleeing from police in a stolen black Camry. The vehicle taken last week on Tuesday from a woman who reported she'd been sexually assaulted by a man at Ipan Beach Park. On Friday night, police found Pablo in the stolen vehicle, pursued him through the village of Talafofo, where he was later apprehended after a chase that involved shots being fired. Pablo has been arrested and charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct, second-degree robbery, and theft by receiving a stolen motor vehicle. 3 villages are slated to receive new gymnasiums and a baseball stadium to the tune of $5.6 million. According to a release from the governor's office, Manilao and Umatec will get new municipal gymnasiums. Talafofo will have a new baseball stadium. The 3 proposed facilities are among a list of projects proposed by the Department of Parks and Recreation. The department was awarded a grant from the U.S. Department of the Interior Capital Improvement Program to build those sports facilities. DPR Deputy Director John Tightno telling the Guam Daily Post that it's part of his agency's effort to promote physical activity, health, and wellness. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray with weather.
It looks like partly sunny skies today, Kevin. Isolated showers, east winds up to about 20 miles an hour with highs near 88 degrees. After sun goes down tonight, expect mostly cloudy, scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Winds east blowing up to about 15 miles an hour overnight. Lows cool 78 degrees. Sunset tonight at 6:37. Should come up early tomorrow, 5:56 or so. 8:12 a.m. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
Ready to buy real estate on Guam? Congratulations! But what now? There's so many questions, so many things to do. Where do you start? The best place to start is to call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty, Guam's biggest name in real estate. They aren't the best because they're the biggest. They're the biggest because they're the best. Trust the name. Find out why. Call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty today. 888-2121. Trust the best.
Portions of the program brought to you. You know this. You can already do this by yourself. You don't need me to read it to you. The part is brought to you by King's Restaurants. Go ahead. That's right. Serving Guam favorites to families for over how many years? That's right. 40. King's Restaurant. Always open. Always local.
Don't wait another day and waste another dollar. You can start saving today. At Guahan Insurance Services, we are here to help protect your investment and save you money. We offer insurance advising for business, car, and home insurance. So come and visit us at our new office at Camacho Landmark Center at Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning, and let us show you that you can count on us for all your insurance needs. Call 475-1162.
Portions of this program also brought to you by, I wonder, like if Security Title was doing business on the Big Island, right? You know, what's the title search here on land that is now underneath the lava field?
It is owned by Pele.
Pele owns that land now, and you may not be able to sell that. So I guess they finally let those folks in for a little bit into one of the areas?
Yeah, some people were able to go back in and get some of their personal belongings. There is an interesting video, though, people can look it up, of the lava rolling across a road and taking over a parked Mustang that's parked there on the side of the road. Why this person did not move their car, I have no idea, but they don't have to worry about it now.
No, and it goes, what is it, 2100 degrees or something like that these things get hot at?
It was, as soon as the lava touched
it's just, it'll just start melting.
As soon as the lava touched the tires, poof, there goes the fire. And then, of course, I think by the time it got to the point where the gas would explode, it was already covered. Didn't matter anymore.
Yeah. Security title, making sure you actually own the property you think you just bought.
Mother's Day is the sweetest at Cold Stone Creamery. We're celebrating Mom with lemon pie ice cream and strawberry shortcake ice cream, a rich and dreamy ice cream cake, or strawberry passion ice cream cake. Only at Cold Stone Creamery, making fresh batches of ice cream in every store.
Also available is an exclusive mango shortcake ice cream cake, layers of moist yellow cake and mango ice cream wrapped in a fluffy white frosting. An array of delicious Mother's Day ice cream cakes available only at Cold Stone Creamery, located at the Guam Premier Outlets and the Micronesia Mall.
The Coconut Wireless is back. The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. On demand at thepoint.gu.
And you can also find us on Facebook Live like Sonia Siliang, Dave Duenas. There's my partner Richard, Cheryl Eusebio. Hey, Yuka Hechanova, Stephen Klein, Frank DeIto's on, and there's plenty more. Tommy Martinez Aguero chimes in. Hoy! Hoy! That's the I don't know what the literal translation is, but what it is I'm coming to your house. Don't shoot. Hoy!
That's like good. Isn't that a bow? Isn't that an archery company? Hoyt.
No, well,
you're saying Hoy?
It's Hoy, or I always put the K at the end of it. Hoyk.
Oh, Hoyk. Oh, yeah,
Right.
Hoyt. Well, Hoyt is the archery company.
That's the so
bow hunters. Shout out to the bow hunters out there.
So I'm going through my tweets, right? I'm going through my my Twitter. I was looking to see if there was anything inflammatory that anybody was saying, and sure enough, there are. But I ran across this. I follow James Woods, the actor.
Oh yes, I watched him on Family Guy just last night.
Oh really?
Yep.
Yeah,
he's the voice of the principal. I don't know if you know that.
Hardcore conservative, nice guy, right? And
he's
so,
wild on Twitter. You know, it's crazy.
He is a wild man
You're
on Twitter.
rich. You're accomplished. Like, what are you doing going crazy on Twitter? So what did he do?
So he writes. He writes, and I didn't know this. When I was a kid, I lived on Guam. Yeah, that's what it says. James Woods says it right there. So when I was a kid, I lived on Guam.
Dad was stationed here?
I don't know. Says parentheses typhoons. Later in New England, parentheses hurricanes. Illinois, parentheses tornadoes. And, of course, California, parentheses earthquakes. But living on an active volcano thousands of miles from a major landmass seems the scariest of all options. I mean, it's a big. I mean, you can wrap this around your head. It's happening in a relatively large place on a relatively large island, right? But it is not as though it is forcing all of the occupants so far to escape to the sea. It's not like, we've got to do one of those Dunkirk things and send boats to go pick people up at the docks, as the lava and the fire, begins to creep up on their very toes as they're trying to jump into the ocean. It's not like that, yes, but you're right. That is the stuff that nightmares are made of.
You had a favorite James Woods movie?
Oh,
role?
Yes, Salvador. That's my favorite movie with James Wood.
Okay, that's a good one.
What was the one? It was a television movie he did years ago. Where I don't.
Was it Night Moves from 1975?
No, later than 75. I want to say about 79, 80.
I'm surprised your favorite James Woods role is not Straight Talk, Ray. Being a radio movie and boasting Dolly Parton and.
No,
1992.
I'll tell you what. I'll look it up while the theme music is playing for Blake with sports.
And if you don't know, Salvador, 1986 American war drama. That's an Oliver Stone movie there, Michael Knight. So, yeah, Kevin, that's I've only seen that once, and I think halfway through, that's it.
No, so there's
my kind of political movie.
Yeah, I'm looking at a bunch of these movies. I'm going, most of them I've never seen, but there's the one I was talking about was Videodrome from back in the 80s. It's a weird tech piece, and I honestly I would be surprised if anyone besides me watched it and remembers the show.
He's 1983. Videodrome.
And it had Debbie Harry in it, which is the reason why I went there, because I went to the show because it had Debbie Harry from Blondie in it.
Yeah, at that point she was pretty hot. Not so much now. But. back then.
Well, but James, he's not all that hot anymore these days. But like I said,
don't think any of us
I just
are
thought
as
it,
hot
I
as
just
we
thought it
were
was
back
interesting
then.
that James Woods
This
lived
only
on
goes
Guam.
one way. This whole thing only goes one way.
But here's the question now. Does anybody here remember James Woods? I mean, besides being an actor, I mean, who knew that he lived on Guam?
Oh, no, I didn't know.
Was he just, was he a military kid? That's a good question. Did he just go to, just hang out on the base, never went out and partied? Was that the name that he used when he lived here? Is there anybody that
I like to
has
think he
any
went by
recollection?
Jimmy. Maybe he went by Jimmy while he was here.
I don't know. So I wrote him back on Twitter. I said, "Come back. You can be on my radio show."
I'm sure he'll get back to you ASAP.
I'm checking. I'll wait until after the sports is all done. So what do we do in sports?
So in sports, well, this one before I get to the local stuff, I wanted to do this. This is regional. We'll go regional first. The world's strongest man competition went down in the Philippines, Manila to be more exact. And if I'm to believe everything I hear, it's more fun over there, by the way. He went up against other mighty men like American Brian Shaw, who is an inch shorter than the winner, who was a guy named Hafthor Bjornsson. Now, if you don't know who Hafthor is...
Sounds like an Avengers name.
Well, close. He's more famous for being the Mountain on Game of Thrones.
Oh, dude!
Yes. So he's been a long-time strongman from Iceland, but he finally captured the elusive 2018 World's Strongest Man title, and it happened in Manila, Philippines. Like I said, when it just happened, I think last weekend or the weekend before. Bjornsson and the American Brian Shaw were the final two battling out head-to-head. 6 events in the competition, including pulling a 20-ton truck and then stacking the massive Atlas stones. If you don't know how that works, they just stack giant balls of cement higher and higher and higher until they can't. And they're super heavy. But either way, he is the Hafthor, his real name, by the way, the first man ever to win Europe's Strongest Man, World's Strongest Man, and the Arnold Schwarzenegger Strongman Classic all in one single year.
That's something.
So there you go. And that happened in the Philippines.
When do we find out who the Guam's strongest man is?
You know what? I would say that I don't know. It's got to be, I wonder who it is.
I don't know who it is. We have to have a competition. We got to find out. Right?
But I mean, what?
Did you see the Troy in his Superman shirt? I mean, he's got... He's buffing up.
Well, that's the thing about Guam. There's please don't get at me for this, but
I'm sorry.
seen
I'm giggling because Kevin's waiting for me to make a reference to man boobs.
I've seen that a lot of like the strong men and a lot of the big hulking, like really really thick guys.
Yeah,
they're also not very tall. So maybe we got something, because I know height isn't a main thing on Guam for guys. Right. I think they wish there was more height here, maybe. But either way, because these
trying to
strongmen,
figure out whether I want to step into that briar patch with you.
Well, I mean, you know what I'm saying. Like, I think that it depends on how you lift, is what I'm saying. Like powerlifting meet and a World's Strongest Man competition, two different things.
Yeah.
So like the shorter you are, I think the more advantage you would have for things like powerlifting or like weightlifting
or dragging
you don't have to raise it as high.
Right. But if you're going to the strongman, and you're gonna have to pull a truck, extend. You're gonna want length, because I think the mountain's like 6'6", 6'8".
Yeah, so
you'd
you'd want to be every step needs to go that much further than the next guy.
So that's what I'm saying. So I think in a roundabout way, I'm saying it would maybe be hard to assess that, just because you would have to have two different meets and then have those two guys.
So
maybe
like
go
my
off.
brother-in-law Phil. Like my brother-in-law, he's big.
He's a hulking guy.
He's a big man, right? And so I think I don't. It's not like I'm going. I wonder if he's like the smartest, the strongest guy on Guam. I know he's the smartest, but is he the strongest guy on Guam? So, and I don't know about that. I do know that there are other guys that are bigger than him. In fact, I'm positive there's other guys. Phil goes, "Phew, that's a big guy. that's a big dude over there." So I'm wondering, but what would it take to go and find these guys? I mean, how difficult would it be to put together a short course event?
We should.
Where we're talking about.
Where's Kaz?
I don't know. Yeah, that's right. Get Kazendo on this.
Get Kaz. I mean, he's got the mutter, and you know what I mean. Doesn't he got the mutter and all those crazy obstacle courses? And stuff?
But they're team events, and you make a lot of money on team events. You're not going to make a lot of money charging Phil and 5 other guys $100 to get in there and stack containers of Heineken.
Weirdly enough, there's this guy, a strong man in Dallas, who does not like me at all, and it's crazy though, because he's I've known him since he was in high school, and his ex-wife, I guess now. Currently, they've been together since high school, but I was her last boyfriend, so that's why he doesn't. That's why he dislikes me. But that's 15 years ago or whatever. But looking at him now,
this is all Facebook. It's complicated stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but looking at him now, he's become a professional strongman, meaning that's all he does. Like he's sponsored by supplement companies and fitness apparel companies and stuff like that, and all he does is just lift stones and push around. And he's a big corn-fed Texas boy, so
it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting just to find out. We were just talking about stuff, and I've been waiting on some comments on Facebook. Not a CrossFitter, that's for sure. You're right, and so different goals completely in a competition like that. So anyway, just saying that maybe ought to be one of the things that we think about doing just in terms of a promotion.
Yes, I think so. I mean, even if it is just for fun, I mean, it'd be a fun title. Be like a WWE title. Maybe it doesn't mean that much, but at least you won it.
Just to get, I don't know. Anyway, what was that?
Going back to James Woods.
Yeah.
He was born in Utah in 1947. Father was an Army intelligence officer. His father was named Gale Peyton Woods. It does not mention if they were based here, but given the fact that he was in intelligence and it was kind of in that cusp between World War II and the Korean War,
maybe
very likely.
The guy was here.
And I'm going to say, because James Woods was in his 60s now, so I'm going to say if it's his father, I'm going to say his father was old
What'd
school
you say
enough.
He was born 47?
Yeah, 1947.
So I'm going to say that James Woods' dad, just because I like to think of this in old school, because people don't do this so much anymore, but you said his name was Gale Peyton Woods. I like to think that he went by G.P. Woods. Nobody uses initials anymore.
All right, somebody out there knows. Somebody that's old school will
Except
remember.
if they're filing lawsuits against the Catholic Church.
888-8255 is the number. If you know what school James Woods went to when he lived on Guam and had to endure at some point some typhoons that we're moving through here. All right, and I think that's it. Do we have anything else?
Just real quick, Friars obviously playing with a heavy heart, and they're playing with a purpose to honor their mentor Tony Thompson, and they advance in the playoffs. Quarterfinal playoff game against the Simon Sanchez Sharks at the Jungle Ray. Friars made easy work of the Sharks. 25-8, 25-6, and 25-16. 3 straight sets, because in the playoffs you play 5. And they will advance. No word yet here on who they're going to play next, but I will have that probably more for you tomorrow as more of these playoff games unfold.
Okay, I know how to do this. Instead of the Guam's strongest man, would do Guam's strongest high schooler.
Ooh.
Right?
Now, I did a story one time on the Guam national powerlifting team.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put this out there. I think I have a good assessment of who may be in the top running for the 2 strongest male and female on island. I'm going to say Kimmy Taguacta.
Okay.
For the women.
Right.
And
I've seen.
And please don't barbecue me for this either. She's
Just
not
an
with
opinion.
them. But her other half, a guy named Shane. If they're still together, I'm sure they are. But he was also, they're both on the national powerlifting team. Both went to the Micronesia Games. Both, I think Kimmy's even competed off island in like Houston.
Yeah, just saying. I mean, there's opportunities out there, and we're busy doing morning shows, so don't count
Jesse
on us to actually do it.
Rosario's
We just
another
talk. We just talk stuff. So if you think this might be fun to do, then maybe we'll hook up. Find me on Facebook. Find me on online, and maybe this is something that we can all build together. If for no other reason to have real sports to talk about every once in a while. And since you brought up the Game of Thrones, HBO confirms it will air the final season of Games of Thrones somewhere in 2019. It's official. Game of Thrones will return for the 6-episode, 8th and final season in 2019.
They just wrapped up, Ray, and try to get your mind around this, a 55-night battle scene. In real life, it took them 55 nights to complete this battle scene. 2 locations, I think sub-zero temperatures, something like thousands of people. So be looking for that. It's going to be in the fight. But that's why it's going to be another year before we get this season, because they're filming things like 55-night battle scenes.
And I think we realize now, with all that information, winter is coming.
I think winter's here.
Trying to figure out where they got that chain to pull the dragon out of the ocean.
No, that's tough.
Where was it? There's no Home Depot there, right?
Valerian Steel.
All right, listen, 828, I'm going to let you run because you got that morning show thing on Star 101. Be listening for Blake Watson, and he does the similar things that we've got. You can go to star101.gu and actually watch the program be executed and created on the fly. Phone calls, great music, great chat, just like this. I'll talk to you pretty soon.
Come be a star in my galaxy.
8:29 in the morning. See you like that, Star 101 Galaxy. And this from Romeo. Love the idea, the strong teen themed contest. Excellent program to help promote a non-drug lifestyle. Glad you like it, Romy.
You're right.
We'll put you in charge of the
artwork.
artwork.
Right, Romy.
All right, tell you what, 8:29, we'll be right back. Headlines with Kevin Kerrigan next.
In this divided world, there are still a few things that unite us. The thrill of an exciting championship game.
Fires to the end zone. Touchdown!
The sound of great music.
The Grammy goes to...
And the love we have for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam presents to you For the Love of Burgers menu. For a limited time, we want you to put down that fork, tuck that napkin in your collar, and go for broke with an amazing burger for just $11.99. 8 burgers to try, and time is a-wasting. Ruby Tuesday Guam lunchtime. See you soon.
One of the longest-running primary care clinics on Guam, the FHP Health Center, has been your convenient one-stop healthcare clinic for you and your family for many generations. FHP's highly trained and well-known medical, dental, and vision providers and their friendly clinical support team are here, ready to take care of you. In addition to the excellent care, FHP offers a full-service pharmacy, laboratory, radiology, and specialty care center in one location. FHP Health Center, our island, your clinic. Most insurance accepted, including Netcare, Aetna, and TRICARE.
What did that email say? I was telling you about the time I wrenched my back and I went to the doctor, and the doctor wanted to give me something a little bit stronger than Tylenol with codeine. And a little bit was me, because I don't like codeine. It always gives me that, I don't know, there's something creeping up my flesh feeling, you know? And so I said, no, that's okay. And then he offered me something stronger, so, you know, Percocet family, something like that. And I turned him down because I knew that was just going to, I'll sleep for the rest of the day, maybe the rest of the week. And a note from a buddy says, next time they offer you the drugs, take them. Always take the pain pills if offered. They're good to have on call just in case. They'll last for a long time if you don't use them all. The military keeps meds in stock for 20 years, and they still work. I'm sure the people at the prescription drug take-back thing might disagree with that point. If you're not, either use them all or destroy them, but or turn them back into somebody around there. But like I said, I just know how I am, and I know that I'd like it too much. 8:31 in the morning, and time for our last look at headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here is Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Daily Post today, members of the administration's finance team are hoping to collect at least $20 million in the next 3 months from the tax amnesty that took effect yesterday. Deputy Revenue Tax Director Marie Benito telling the Post that there's no way of knowing how much will be collected, but the 2008 amnesty raised more than $20 million. She hopes at least another $20 million will be raised this time around. Acting Bureau of Budget Director Lester Carlson, meanwhile, also expressing the same hope. Carlson said the additional funds from the amnesty haven't been earmarked yet, but he expects it may be used to pay tax refunds unless the legislature acts to appropriate the money for something else. All penalties and interest are forgiven during the amnesty. Delinquent taxpayers have until May 28th to file their applications for the amnesty, but they'll have to put 10% down on the back taxes they owe. Payment of full principal under the amnesty is due by August 6. Pedro Agravante died from a broken neck and crushed chest, according to medical examiner Dr. Aurelio Espinola. Agravante was struck by a car while trying to cross the street from Iglesia Ni Cristo Church around 7 p.m. on Saturday evening. The driver of a Toyota RAV4 said the area was dark. He didn't see the man trying to cross the street until it was too late. The Guam Police Department's Highway Patrol Division is investigating the incident and have not said yet whether speed or alcohol were factors in that tragedy. Agravante's death was the 7th traffic-related fatality on Guam's roads this year. Senator Tom Atta expects his controversial measure to give privately owned Monjita Farms a lease extension that could extend up to 100 years. It'll come up for consideration during this month's session, says the senator. The senator says the committee report on Bill 256 is still a work in progress, but he fully anticipates his bill will be reported out of committee in time for the session. Bill 256 has drawn some criticism from some over its proposed modifications to the original lease agreement for the land Monjita Farms now occupies. The Guam Economic Development Authority assigned the lease to Monjita after Kusan America Corp defaulted on a GITA loan for the 50 acres of leased public land. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Right on. On the microphone here, right on. Was saying that iConnect time in the studio, it's 8:34. iConnect wants you to connect longer for less with their incredible push-to-talk and mobile plans.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training every morning on The Ray Gibson Show.
You can influence the policies and procedures of organizations you do business with. I'm Jerry Roberts, and at 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show, I'll tell you that it's not about making threats that you'll yank your business. Not at all.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point by Jerry Roberts at guamtraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts on The Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point.
Let's look at traffic here this morning. Kevin, I'll see you later. You have a fantastic day, and look for big headlines from him tomorrow morning in the Guam Daily Post. It is, as I said, 8:35, and there is still traffic. There's still parts of the island that have got some issues with traffic. Usually at this time, it's traffic moving on to Route 3 from Marine Corps Drive and just trying to get north from the Micronesia Mall, and that's exactly what is happening there. Traffic southbound still a little bit heavy, and traffic northbound, even after you pass GRMC, a few more cars on the road today. Might have been a little bit rough going for people that were on Challenge San Antonio, about 14, and it still looks like there might be a lot of traffic or a few more cars on the road at this point in front of, I want to say Dr. Shea's clinic, you know, where the IP&E offices are. Marine Corps Drive in front of Lone Star, northbound traffic between Pizza Hut and the ITC building beginning to build up a little bit. Anything else that's happening out there? Route 4 inbound around McDonald's into the Agana Shopping Center. Expect some delays as you're making your way down the hill. If you think there's an accident, something like that in front of you, 888-8255. Right now, traffic on the point. Is that for me? Oh, turn it up. If that's Freedom Rock, turn it up. What do we call it? Lava rock? Molten rock.
Howdy, folks. Can't get enough of my KFC Smoky Mountain Barbecue? I'm bringing more to Guam this month with my new KFC Smoky Mountain Grilled Barbecue Chicken. KFC's chicken coated with a sweet and smoky barbecue sauce. Oh, and by the way, Smoky Mountain Barbecue is still available on KFC's Extra Crispy Chicken and Boneless Strips. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Are you a homeowner looking to save money on your power bill? Ever thought about getting solar on your roof? If the answer is yes, Micronesia Renewable Energy will install a solar energy system on your roof for zero money down, so you can save money on your power bill. Sign up in the month of May, and MRE will pay you $400 in cash. That's right. In the month of May, get a solar energy system on your roof, and MRE will pay you $400 just for signing up. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
The assault continues. And you're wondering, what assault are you talking about now, Gib? What is it? What were you getting hysterical about? I am not getting hysterical. I'm just saying that there are going to be some changes. Regine talking about the plastic bag ban. Her version of the legislation doesn't ban it for a couple of years, sets up some big government, which I hate. You know, I'm not nuts about plastic bags, and I still have to do the lecture whenever I go someplace and the guy puts the, one item in one bag and puts another item in another bag, and then there's another bag. And I said, they'll all fit. Virtually everything I bought here today will fit in one bag. So let's just do one bag today. Can we do that? That, I think, is one of the big problems. It's just, the people happy to put, an item, separate. All right, we have the toothpaste over here, and toothbrush, and Fafa deodorant goes over here in one bag, and then there's eggs and bread and milk and go in the other. It won't make any difference. Don't worry. None of them are going to have these little affairs in the bag. So that's fine. But that's, that's just me. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. I don't agree with the way they've got. I think that you can just say in January 1st of 2019, there's not going to be plastic bags sold on Guam, period. End of story. We're finished with the conversation. And I note, though, there is a new kind of hysteria that is floating around. And the culprit It's not plastic bags. You know what it is? It's plastic straws. Have you begun to see that? Plastic straws, ladies and gentlemen, it's worldwide. It is a worldwide we hate them phenomenon now happening. I got a friend, Diane. Awesome chick, right?
You have friends?
I do, one or two. Outside of the radio business, you would be surprised. Yeah, people know me, like me by my first name. And we go someplace, and if she orders a drink, she's very firm. No straw. I do not want a straw. I generally don't put straws in my drinks.
It's not real manly.
Right. It's not. Obviously, there's always room for some kind of comedy. But, if there's one already in there, I'll take advantage of it and slurp up my drink that way. Yeah. Especially if I'm wearing a nice shirt, so I don't want anything spilling on the shirt because I'm clumsy that way. So that's the next thing. So in the United Kingdom, did you hear that McDonald's is going to start doing away with the straws?
I have heard rumors of that, yes.
Who's the one with the bigger plastic straw? That's Wendy's, right?
I think so.
Right? Because
but they all just kind of use their own thing. I know, yeah, Burger King, they use a big straw too. I
like big straws. And I think you can, and so I'm not totally against the idea. It's just I'm an old and stubborn guy, and I just, forget it. Why we have to do all of this stuff? But the environment, okay, yeah. But the environment, we'll find another thing to ban next week, and it'll just be this continuous series of things that we're going to ban. So I think there's room for companies to go back into the business of making wax paper straws.
Yeah.
Like they did back in the old days.
Yeah, because, forget about the chain restaurants. How in the world will we eat our halo without the big giant straw?
How did they eat it before? How did they eat before we had straws?
Piece of bamboo, probably.
You take a banana leaf and then you roll the thing up. Anyway, so that's one of the things. So McDonald's is probably going to be getting out of the business. I'm just saying there are times where I like a big fat plastic straw. If I'm at Ruby Tuesdays and I get one of their mango teas. Oh, my God, those are so good. And they actually put big chunks of mango in them. And for me, it's fun to be able to slurp them up just like that in the big straw.
Do you pretend you're a vacuum cleaner and make a little noise? And
there's options. It'll cost you more. And I think that's probably going to be the be-all, end-all of this is, you want a straw? That's another nickel. But in England, they've got a bar where they're not using plastic straws. They're made out of pasta.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Made out of pasta. And I guess the idea is that you can eat them when you're done. And maybe that's going to work. And one more thing before I get to the phone guest here. We were talking about the state of Hawaii. Those of you that are watching on Facebook Live, I found the video that Michael Knight was talking about. There's a street somewhere in the Tony neighborhood on the big island of Hawaii that is being overtaken. The lava tubes underneath are filled with actual primordial lava. And it's making its way up above the atmosphere. And what you are looking at, if you can see it on Facebook Live, is a Ford that is getting eaten by Madame Pele.
That car does not look to be in that bad a shape. My mind says that that's somebody that probably had to go to the mainland on business for a week, and then the eruption happened. They're going to come back. They're not going to have a car. They're not going to have a house.
I'm a bigger conspiracy theorist. I'm of the notion that the guy said, "Hey, I got insurance." There you go. What are they going to do? What are they going to say? No, we're not going to allow that. I got insurance. I got a big insurance company. I wanted a new car anyway. They have newer and better looking Mustangs. That's the problem. You live in Hawaii is the cars don't rust as fast as they do here, and so you're stuck with a beater for a lot longer than you think. 842, and with me on the telephone lines, if I'm holding my nose right, it is my dear friend from the Guam Election Commission, Maria Pangilinan. Good morning.
Good morning, Ray. You are holding your nose right.
Yay! I was trying to get a hold of you yesterday, but everybody's busy yesterday, and I know that there is going to be, because you mentioned this the last time we talked, there are going to be a lot of people that have the opportunity now to make a misstep with campaign paperwork, campaign funding paperwork, the possibility that they might be misconstruing what they think is the law on the Mini Hatch Act. So you're going to be having a primer and a seminar for all of the contestants now, if you will, in the upcoming election, right?
That's correct.
Gotcha.
It'll be held Thursday here at the Guam Election Commission conference room.
What is the Dusitani books? Wait, you couldn't have it there?
No, sir. And it's on a first-come, first-served basis at 5:30 on Thursday. and Friday at 2 o'clock.
Okay, one more time. I need to put that in my calendar.
Thursday at 5:30.
Okay.
And Friday at 2 o'clock.
Okay, so you've got one for people that are on the list that are actually working for a living and aren't going to be able to drill out a big chunk of their daytime time to go and do this, and then you've got one on Friday that will be for people that are working for the government.
Or whoever is interested.
I'm sorry, I just got to do that because it's funny in my head. But anyway, so okay, I got you. And has anybody else picked up any new packets? I think the last time I saw it was 59 potentials for the legislature. Is that number still accurate?
I think so, yes, as of today.
Okay, and have all of the gubernatorial teams that you're aware of picked up their packets?
Yes, I think they have, and 2 have filed.
Okay, all right. So I know that Carl has filed, and who else? Who's the other one?
Frank Uggan Jr.
Okay, so we're waiting on Ray and Tony, and Lou and Josh, and Dennis and that guy, Dave.
Dennis and David.
Okay, gotcha. How much time do they have before they got to do it? June when?
26.
Okay, June 26th. Now, this getting back to the primer here, it's not a requirement. They don't have to go, right?
No, they don't have to go, but I have smart candidates who have come more than once.
Oh, because?
Questions generate where the seminar goes. So as new questions come up, we cover new parts of the candidate handbook.
I see. Okay, so if you can make both of them, it'll be good. Number one, you'll obviously go over some of the same ground as you did before, but it's possible that the people that come up at the second seminar will have different questions that might be exactly what you are looking for, or things that you had not thought of.
That's right. And the reason we invited Civil Service Commission is the Guam Election Commission has been fielding quite a number of Mini Hatch Act questions.
Mm-hmm.
So we asked them if they would want to come and do it and present on the Mini Hatch Act, and they so cordially said yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's important to identify what some of the issues are, but I had a conversation with the guys over at the commission as well, and they seem to indicate that while there's always talk about this is a violation, that is a violation. It has very rarely ever risen to the occasion where anybody has actually made out some kind of formal complaint.
That goes the same with the Guam Election Commission.
Right, where there's a lot of people and they got a lot of questions. Oh, that looked funny. Oh, it shouldn't have come in that envelope, marked confidential. It looked like interoffice mail, but it was actually tickets to a fundraising event, which could be construed as a violation of the Mini Hatch Act. However, until somebody gets up and actually says to somebody in authority, I'd like to swear out a complaint against this. I believe that a crime has been committed or this is in violation of the Hatch Act. Unless that happens, you're just whistling in the breeze, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And to your memory, nobody's done that yet.
No, not that we know of.
All right. Now, once upon a time, it feels like it was so long ago, the actual Guam Election Commission went into an executive session. There was a question that was brought up, and I don't know what the question was, or who it was pointed at, or what the violation might have been. The Guam Election Commission went into executive session, and then I presumed that they stopped being an executive session at some point. Did they ever have they reconvened? Have they come to some kind of disposition of the issue that they were talking about?
Because they haven't, I'm not able to talk about any of that.
When do they meet again?
The regular meeting is on the 16th of May, next week, Wednesday at 5:30 p.m.
Can I presume that at that time they will reconvene in executive session?
Can you presume that? The executive session part of our agenda is always on there. So we have a standard agenda, And so part of the standard agenda includes an executive session.
Right. So it's probably going to happen, and in that, it is possible that they may reconvene and pick up where they left off on the last executive session that they were in, and perhaps come up with some kind of a disposition on this mystery case.
That's possible.
Everything is within the realm of possibility. Hey, what are your preparations right now for actually getting ready for the election? You know, as I stop and think about it, we've got the senators getting the candidates getting themselves lined up. They're turning in their petitions. They've got their paperwork that's coming in, and so what are you doing on your side? Is there anything technical that we're doing? Have you already talked to the people that make the paper? And do we have a guy lined up to fly out and check the calibration on the machines and all of that?
All of that.
All of that, yes. The rest of the job.
Yes. So you know, right now our voter registration gurus here have been kept busy. You know, we're up to 49,960 voters, so that's pretty impressive from the volunteer registrars.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've been keeping tabs on that. We've been also taking a look at our checklist, all the checklists that we have inside and outside the commission for the precinct officials and for everyone else involved with the election. Also, we've written letters to both parties, the Democratic Party of Guam and the Republican Party of Guam. The deadline for precinct official nominees from the parties, and that's where they come from, is May 26th.
Oh, that's right around the corner.
Yes, so if anybody is interested, please get in touch with the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. We have points of contact. We can release that out. And in fact, I'm getting ready to send out a press release to make sure that we have enough precinct officials for the primary and the general.
I got you. Now, what's that job pay?
$350 for each election.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's, I'm trying to figure that. It's like 20 cases of beer.
Only after the election, sir.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it's not like I can bring, don't bring any red coolers. No red coolers in any of the precincts. Got it?
No coolers at all.
There you go. So what'd you say the count for registered voters is at 49,000, almost 50,000?
Almost 50,000. We think we know we're going to break 50,000 come end of May.
Okay, well, I mean, the total registered voters going into the 2016 elections was like 51, almost 52,000, right?
Right.
Okay, so and I don't think, a lot of people, express concerns about low voter turnout, but 69% of the voters in of the registered voters in the last election actually came out and cast a ballot.
We're still pretty high compared to the rest of the United States.
Yeah.
But it's still a downtrend for Guam. I'm very, I guess I can talk about it now.
Yeah.
I teach part-time at the university, and this is my last semester. I promised the University of Guam, even though they call me all the time.
Ayade, you and Uncle Robert, you're both out?
Yes, sir. So in my marketing class, the students need to do a marketing project, on their own, independently. I told them that of 4,400 of 49,000 voters, only 4,000 or less than 9% are those between the ages of 18 and 24.
Wow.
So on their own, inside of a month, they've been conducting voter registration drives. And as of last night, we had class last night at 5:30. They had 178 or 180 voters registered from the Triton family up at the University of Guam.
Right.
Yeah, so tonight at the forum, they were able to partner with the graduating Masters in Public Administration students.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll be doing a registration drive there as well. And tomorrow they'll be doing one in the School of Business building in the evening.
And this is not just for students. I mean, if you happen to be in the area and you're not a registered voter, then go ahead and sign up. So wait a second. So of the 49,000 that you mentioned, only 10% of them are in that age group?
Less than 9.
Less than 9.
18 to 24. So we're hoping to bring it up by a little bit with the efforts of the students.
Which is odd because, well, when you look at if you look at the age distribution pyramid on Guam, that's a big demographic.
That's what's scaring all of us here at the Guam Election Commission is that we want to reach out to them to register.
Mm-hmm.
So there's over 175 volunteer registrars listed on our website. You can get in touch with them. They're so gracious. They would even come out to the homes to register people, register whole families. You can, of course, register online. We're still a lot. It takes a little longer for the registrants to get on the list with online registration, but you're welcome to do that. All mayor's offices are staffed with volunteer voter.
Let me just for clarity here. If you're trying to get voters between the ages of about what did you say, 18 and 24 on this radio station, I'm not sure. I think the target audience here is a little bit older, but we'll tell our kids. I personally don't understand why why that number is so low. I mean, I remember when I was 18 years old, I needed to vote. I had to go out there and vote. And I come from a political family or a family that's got a political background. So there was no question about it. You're 18, you're registered, you are voting. And back in those days, it was, this is how we'd like you to vote. Somebody sat us all down and said, these people are good for our family and our family's business. So these are the people we're supporting. You can vote for anybody you want to, but consider the family.
Yeah, I think many of our youth just feel out of touch with the process.
There's nothing I'm going to say or Maria's going to say that will make it so that they understand the process. And voting is such a small part of the process as well. You still need to plug in. You still need to be involved in everything that goes on, or at least paying attention to what's going on. And the funny thing is, all the news that they need, all of the information that they need, is on the same screens that they're Instagramming on constantly. They're telling their stories, and it's too bad that they. I worry that they're going to be this generation's low information voters. But we'll help you as best as we can on all of this. Was there something else that I needed to ask you? No, I think we got the numbers down here. So shooting for over 50 by the end of the May, and by the time we get to the primary and general election, maybe 52,000, maybe 52 and a half.
Oh, thank you, Ray Gibson. Yes, maybe. And with your help, we will get there.
Well, you as long as you answer the phone when we call, I think we'll be all right. I'll talk to you pretty soon.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks. Maria Pangilinan from the Guam Election Commission. And if you heard and said, wait a second, I'm a candidate, when did she say the forums are? Thursday and Friday. Or just call the GEC and they'll let you know. But I've been looking, and if I impressed you when I got to the part where I knew what the registered numbers were for the 2016 election, you're going, how did he have that information off the top of his head?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just that good. I'm just that good. The truth of the matter is, I'm doing some research because we are moving into this silly season of politics here, and I wanted to get a pretty good grasp on where the numbers are and where I think the deficiencies are. 69.33% of the registered voters went out and cast a ballot in the last election, which I think is terrific. It's lower than it used to be. I want to say that the numbers back in the old days were higher. But considering that this was not a gubernatorial election that they were voting in, it was senators and a couple of people over at the senators, and it came down to Congresswoman Berdallo and Felix Camacho in the general election. Senatorial vote. There were a bunch of mayoral votes in there. And Consolidated Commission, Guam Ed Board, as an example, Public Auditor. Madeline walks away, hands down. Did somebody even run against her? Yeah, that's right. Doreen Crisostomo ran against her last time. Judicial retention questions, and if there's judicial retention questions and there are certain names on that list, I am voting no, because I'm sick and tired of hearing about ICE dealers getting let out all the time. So,
I just don't like the word retention. It reminds me of school.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Are you right? Retain? How come you're 18 years old and you're still a sophomore? Why is that? What happened there? That actually never happens around here. Everybody is socially promoted. But anyway, I think it's a good number. I'd like to see it higher. And I think the only way that we're going to be able to get those numbers higher is, I don't want to say a little bit more excitement in the Republican Party, but if there was going to be a juicy competitor for Ray and Tony, the Bota team on the Republican side, I think that would be interesting. I think it would be interesting to see if a real leader emerges. Now, she was talking about the, quote, debate tonight. And I think it's going to be more of a forum. I don't know that between the 4 or 5 people that are going to be at this great One Guam debate this evening, there is going to be one who is going to disagree whole cloth from everybody else. I just don't see it. I mean, it's the quest for self-determination. Is it an important question that we need to ask? Yes. Have we been asking? For decades. And so the real leader here, I think the one that will emerge is the one that has a very clear plan on what to do next, understanding the political realities in our relationship with the federal government of the United States. And it's not just the way they look at us, but it is the way that we look at them with our hands out, saying, okay, we got our taxes. That's groovy. Not enough to make the nut around here. So you're from Washington, D.C.? Give me money, go away. Give me money, go away. That's the way we like to look at these guys. So I'd like to see some reality when it gets to be the debate tonight. It's 9 a.m. on KUSG. I got ya.
He's ready. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump has made his decision on whether the U.S. will remain part of the Iran nuclear deal.
The president tweeting, "I will be announcing my decision on the Iran deal tomorrow from the White House at 2 p.m. Most observers expect that President Trump will quit the deal, despite a push by France, Germany, Great Britain, and even former Secretary of State John Kerry to remain in the agreement. White House spokeswoman Sarah Sanders.
I don't think that we would take advice from somebody who created what the president sees to be one of the worst deals ever made. I'm not sure why we would start listening to him now.
The president is concerned about the deal's failure to cover other Iranian activities like its ballistic missile program or support for terrorist groups.
Fox's John Decker at the White House, and Sanders neither confirming nor denying whether President Trump's nominee for CIA Director Gina Haspel tried to withdraw from consideration over her involvement in so-called enhanced interrogation techniques.
If she felt that her nomination would have been a problem for that and for the agency, then she wanted to do everything she could to protect the agency. At the same time, she wants to do everything she can to protect the safety and security of Americans.
Haspel's confirmation hearing set for Wednesday. She's been meeting privately with lawmakers today. President Trump is committed to securing the border. That was the message from Attorney General Jeff Sessions as he visited the border in San Diego this afternoon.
We will finally secure this border so that we can give the American people the safety and peace of mind that they deserve.
And Sessions says the Department of Homeland Security has agreed to refer anyone who comes into the U.S. illegally to the Justice Department for prosecution. Gaming regulators in Massachusetts allowing Wynn Resorts to remove founder Steve Wynn's name from its license for a planned $2.5 billion casino in the state. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,500 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 475-4545, Upper Tuon 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959.
GTA's best internet deal has arrived. With fiber internet, you get up to 50 megabits of data per second for only $50 per month. And if that's not enough, Fiber Internet 50 plan includes free Wi-Fi. But this offer will only last through the month of May. So sign up today and get ready for faster downloads, more streaming, a better gaming experience, and a stable connection across multiple devices. Conditions may apply. Visit GTA.net for more details. GTA, your island, your network.
HHS and the Ad Council.
Walmart taking additional steps to protect against opioid abuse. Fox's Steve Rappaport has this live.
Lisa, starting within the next 2 months, the nation's largest retailer will only fill a week's worth of prescription opioids at all Walmart and Sam's Club pharmacies. Walmart will also require electronic prescriptions for controlled substances by 2020. The company saying in a statement they're proud to implement new policies as they work to address the critical issue of opioid abuse. Consumers are doing their part, too. The DEA saying today that this year's National Drug Take-Back Day was the most successful yet. Authorities collecting nearly 1 million pounds of unused, unwanted, or expired prescription pills. Lisa?
Steve Oliver North will be the next head of the National Rifle Association. Executive Vice President and CEO Wayne LaPierre praising North in a statement as a legendary warrior for American freedom, a gifted communicator, and a skilled leader. North worked at Fox News for 17 years as a host and contributor. A Philadelphia Eagles star coming under fire for remarks made online about a music legend.
John Lennon was a bad guy, so says Philadelphia Eagles defensive lineman Chris Long. Long responded to a Twitter challenge where he was supposed to state a controversial yet unproblematic opinion with a tweet calling the iconic musician a bad guy, saying as someone who is not a fan of the Beatles, it's easy for him to not need to cape for an abuser. Long referring to Lennon's admission that he physically abused women, something he addressed in an interview with Playboy magazine back in 1980. Long has gotten backlash over the comments over looping Lennon's art to his behavior, to which he tweeted on Monday, "Just acknowledge, separate the two, and keep it moving." Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
A Rhode Island town where Taylor Swift owns an oceanfront mansion is considering allowing parking on her street. The town council in Westerly set to meet tonight to discuss the proposal. If it passes, residents will be able to park on Bluff Avenue for 3 hours. Currently, people that park on that street can be towed. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
Do you suffer from eye strain? If you work at a computer, follow the 20-20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, look 20 feet away for 20 seconds to reduce eye fatigue. Ensure you have the optimal prescription for your contact lenses and glasses. Early stages of common eye diseases typically have no symptoms and can only be detected with a comprehensive dilated eye exam. Call Lombard Health today to book an appointment at 989-4747. Guam's best eye care. One patient at a time.
Hey, I told you already, the Ray Gibson Show is brought to you by King's Restaurant, serving Guam favorites to families for over 40 years. King's Restaurant, always open and always local.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1972.
Ray Gibson brings you closer to the action. Morning talk that matters. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
I'm trying to ponder ways to make the next election that much more interesting, because now we got numbers to beat. That's the thing, and you can hear Maria in her voice. I mean, that's what she wants to do. She wants to get more people. She wants to get more people registered to vote, and then find a way to get all of those guys out there. Now, generally, we would not question it because it's a gubernatorial election time. There are 4 people running on the Democratic side. There's one team that's running on the Republican side, and so it should be an interesting primary race leading up to a very interesting general election. Well, I guess it depends. I don't want to make that prediction, because it could be one of those things where it's Ray and Tony on the Republican side, and then somebody really boring on the Democrat side, which is possible. If and the political punditry may nail me on this, and I don't care. It is possible if the Republican strategy of crossing over in the primary and voting for the weakest of the Democrat candidates pulls through. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, in the primary.
Right. So yeah. So because you can cross, you cannot cross the line. So if you've got a ballot and you start with the Republican, then you have to finish on the Republican side. You're not allowed to cross over and say, okay, I like this Republican over here for governor, lieutenant governor, but I like Madeline Bradalio on the congressional race. Not allowed to do that, right?
Wow.
No, it's just the way it is because it's a primary election, generally for the parties. But oftentimes what will happen is, we save money, so we have Democrats on one side, Republicans on the other, and they tell you don't cross over. And so for some people it's tricky because everybody on Guam loves Madeline Bradalio. There is no shortage of people in this town that would not take a bullet for her. And so the idea that, I might be a Republican, but Madeline's my chick. What do you mean I can't vote for her? Get out of here. You know what? I'll spoil my ballot then. And that's unfortunately what happens. So I'm sitting here going, if I was the boss of the Republican Party, I'd make a couple of assignments and just say, okay, we need to have X thousands of people that will for sure vote for Ray. And you do a little bit of research and you figure all of that stuff out. And any of the undecideds or people that say, I'm in it no matter what, okay, you go and you vote on the Democratic side for the weakest guy. Right. And without any kind of research, and I'm just going to say, as an example, right? Yes. I'm using air quotes, and I'm disclosing now. So the name that I say, don't get all mad at me and go, oh, just Ray doesn't like me. I'm just using you as an example.
I need an air quote sound. Yeah, we'll get in production later. I'll have you do that.
I'll charge. I'll charge for it.
Fine.
There's a ridiculous amount of talent goes into being able to go with my air quotes. But, we got them flying around here. So let's say it's the team of, I'm just going to say Dennis, right? So let's just say for talking purpose, I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it's what I truly believe. It's just the first name that popped in my head.
It was in air quotes.
Well, why it's the first name that popped in my head? Because it was used by Troy. I feel bad. I think he's mad at me because he didn't include me on a note that he had apparently sent to everybody else in the media saying that accusing Ray Tenorio of working with the police chief and the Mandania Drug Task Force to frame him. It was addressed to the media, yada, yada, yada. He said that it was, I'm trying to find where it was. He's accusing, he says that Jadine Tuncap called Dennis Rodriguez prior to the raid to inform him that a raid was to take place at my house and I was to be arrested. How the blank would a political hack know I would be arrested? Why the blank did this same Tuncap know? Oh, did this same Tuncap know I was arrested prior to the media knowing? Wow. All right, so he brings up Rodriguez's name. So that's why it's in my head. So, and getting back to the original premise of this stream of consciousness here, just the very fact that it's a gubernatorial election should be enough to bring enough people, 75, 80% of the registered voters to the polling places.
That's reasonable.
I mean, unless it's raining or unless everybody got drunk the night before, which is also possible. And so that's one of the things. But if it's just Ray Tenorio versus a lackluster Democrat candidate, and people are going to go, well, there's not much of a fight. There's no point to me going. Why bother?
Yeah.
Why bother? And that means that there are going to be fewer people making the decision in that election. There will be fewer people going through what will end up to be in that general election, 15 Republican candidates, 15 Democratic candidates for the legislature. Out of the almost 60 candidates that we've got now.
Right.
And we need to see some big numbers in there. As an example, the guy never fails to get big numbers running for the legislature. We'll see what happens if he's able to turn those big legislative voting numbers out and use those to propel himself into the governor's office. Frank Elgin Jr., 21,070 votes for him. Right? Of the 35,000 votes cast. So he's not doing so bad in that one.
Yeah, that's huge.
But
really.
but if we don't have 35,000 people going to the polls, if that number is 30, 25, and that means that there's fewer number of people that will be determining who the other part of the leadership is going to be. So I think it's important. I think it's incumbent upon us in the real world to come up with, to sort out, if you will, some other things that will make this much more exciting. right?
Right.
As an example, I've been talking about let's do this recreational marijuana thing. This is not my idea. It's Eddie's idea. I'm just of the position that anybody that is holding out any kind of hope that they will at some point be able to talk to a doctor and the doctor may recommend, not prescribe because there's legal issues here, but recommend that you go someplace to go and buy marijuana that has been licensed by the Department of Public Health to sell you marijuana that has been laboratory tested by a laboratory that is set up by the government, licensed by the government to be the marijuana testing laboratory. You'll be dead before that happens.
No better laboratory than God, you know.
If you think that that's going to happen and that's going to make you hungrier when you've got cancer, you've got another thing, you'll be dead before any of that happens. Now, a significant number of people in the last election went through and said, hey, yeah, medicinal marijuana is a good idea. Let's do that.
Yeah.
But it's not going to happen. But there's still people that, quote, have the need. I've got one of half a dozen things that would make it so that a doctor would recommend it for me, and it'd really be cool if I could get my hands on some dope right now. And you know what? You can, but it ain't going to be government sanctioned. It ain't going to be. So my recommendation is let's dispense with the conversation and just ask in this upcoming election, do you support and I don't know what, I haven't really worked on the verbiage here. I'm not good at that. But maybe you can help me. 888-8255 or just chime in on the deal online. Is just say, you will full decriminalization of marijuana on the Guam laws. Just, we'll manage it the same way we try to manage alcohol. Just don't drive when you're on it.
Yeah.
Right? If you're working with kids, don't smoke when you're with the kids.
Yeah, technically speaking, you can get DUI for being under the influence of marijuana, even in states where it's legal.
Yeah, I don't know how they test for all of that kind of thing, and I don't think I need to know. We'll leave that to somebody else to carry the debate. But you've got these guys that are trying to astroturf the green revolution here on Guam and the marijuana revolution, and they keep looking at medicinal marijuana. It's not going to happen.
No.
So stop asking and start asking for something that is more likely to happen. And you're going to say, yeah, but the people voted on medicinal marijuana. They weren't crazy about recreational marijuana. That was a long time ago, and now maybe there is the realization that this town has completely liberalized its thought and are more tolerant and more accepting of marijuana for whatever reasons. Maybe just disagree that it's Schedule 1 and ICE is Schedule 2, and for that very reason. Or people that say, alcohol is worse than marijuana. Any number of things that you get from these guys in the endless debate. I'm just saying this will be, number one, a great opportunity to end the debate. And number two, will be a great opportunity to have the debate taken directly to the people and support. And you want to get young people to vote? That's the issue.
Yeah, that would.
That's the issue. There is no. I'm not saying that young people are stoners. They are, but I'm not saying that. That's the issue that will get them motivated. That's the issue that will get them. They'll find a way to make politics relevant to them.
That's right.
And it's not just a rant. I really think that it could happen. Here, I'll give you another one. Judy Guthrich will get mad at me for doing this one because I think she introduced legislation, and it might have passed. I got to check. Once upon a time when she was a senator, that would make it so that if you just couldn't bring up the question anymore about casino gambling on Guam.
Wow, just couldn't even ask, huh?
Yeah. Well, the idea behind the legislation was every time it has been asked in any kind of forum, it's always lost. Right. Because you get the Guam is good people, and they're a bunch of do-gooders, and they've already got their millions, and they don't want anybody else to be able to have a chance at winning anything for themselves. So they always say, no, gambling, Baba gambling, no good, the casino gambling. But I'm not hearing as much of them as I thought I'd be hearing with, all of the game rooms that seem to be popping up all over the, I guess as long as it's not casinos, maybe that's the thing. I frankly have not heard a lot of them in the conversation about casino gaming over at the carnivals and happening or not happening, or even the conversations that come up when we bring up the idea that maybe just to help out the guys at the carnival to look the other way on a casino, so that the bills are getting paid so that we can actually have a carnival. Ain't going to happen this year. Didn't happen last year. The administration is going to throw something together, and everybody will pretend that it's great, and then we'll try to come up with ways for the mayors to make money later on. But I just think let's have the conversation again. Let's put it back on. In many cases, if you go back through the stories and the headlines, it wasn't necessarily that people had a significant bad taste in their mouth for gambling, right? Because we gamble here. Everybody gambles here. Everybody bets here. Everybody's got something that they're putting a stake on. And then the other part is now we'll take a look and see how they're doing with Saipan. Some interesting things that are happening up there now that the government has got a big wheel partner in the gaming deal that they've got there. And there might be some that say maybe we ought to try to duplicate that here on Guam. Let's at least try. Let's at least have the conversation. So let's stick that back on the ballot. What they didn't like was the way that the initiatives were written. Right. They didn't like the way the licensing was set up, and they didn't like prohibitions on this, and they didn't like too much freewheeling on the other. I mean, I had them all in my notes that I abandoned years ago, but it wasn't so much that we hated gambling as much as we hated the laws that came up that would have been enacted if those gambling initiatives had passed over in the election. And I'm just saying, we got to find ways to make this one here a little bit more dreamy than just here, elect 15 senators, here, elect a governor. And even if we did, you've heard some of the names that are floating around, some of the people that were out want back in, some of the people that are in and want to continue to be in. And I'm thinking about change. I'm wondering if anybody that is on any of the lists right now, including the gubernatorial lists. I mean, think about it. Which one of these groups really represents some kind of beneficial change for the community? They're talking about free education. Of course they're going to talk about something free. They're talking about free unfettered access to health care. Of course they're going to talk about that. And what it's going to end up to be is a way for them to put together legislation that will take more money out of our pocket and give it to people that are perfectly capable of working but are unwilling to go out there and get a job, and give them access to the things that we will no longer be able to afford. So trust me, that's not the kind of change that I'm talking about. But, as you drive around, as you look around, and think in the last 10 years, 15 years, what major positive change have you seen here? I know. The Molesso bridges. We finally got the bridges down in Molesso fixed. Woohoo! How long did that take? And somebody's going to crow about Hamburger Highway. Hamburger Highway has had that name since Burger King was in the Bank of Guam. Was next to the Bank of Guam down the street.
When I got here last year, I thought it was called Hamburger Highway because the highway literally looked like hamburger.
No, it was called Hamburger Highway because there was a Burger King at that turn and a McDonald's at the other one. That's why it was called Hamburger Highway, and we started calling it Hamburger Highway in 1995. Because that's when those businesses opened up. They used to have a nice drive-through at that BK there. Man, that was awesome. Man. But anyway, I digress. How long did it take to get that done? Somebody said, hey, well, we got a museum. Isn't that a big deal? Yeah, how long did it take to get that thing built? That is a conversation from a long, long time ago. And the original place, first deciding where it was going to go took forever. Remember, they wanted the museum to be over by the governor's house up in Agana Heights. And what's the other one? The legislative building finally got done. Well, the legislature had been in what was the old Department of Education building in Long O'Brien Drive in the Hulali district. And that was supposed to be a temporary move. Right. They weren't supposed to be in there any longer than a year or two. And they were in there for literally ever. So I ask you, as you look over these gubernatorial candidates, which ones feel like change to you? Or which ones, maybe I'll ask the question this way, which ones feel like more of the same? Which ones feel like more of the same to you? And when I say more of the same, I'm not necessarily thinking about shiny and new things that we can develop and build here. I'm kind of enamored of the days where it seemed like every time you turned around, there was some kind of technical innovation that we were all of a sudden just gobsmacked by. And real life game changers. A generation and a half have gone by that don't remember 011 plus. And that's a jingle from a phone company. And it's a jingle from the phone company because you had to dial, it was 011 plus, and then you dial the telephone number, and then you dial at the end of it another 10 digits in order to call Michael Knights on the States.
Yeah.
And that's how we did it back in the old days. We weren't a part of the American, North American numbering system.
Wow.
And so it took forever just to dial the number, and the costs were just unbelievably high. And then we changed it, and then all of a sudden one day you could dial 1-808-941-4960. You didn't have to press any other buttons, and all of a sudden the phone will ring somewhere in Hawaii. You should call that number and harass them, whoever they are.
Yeah.
And so this, and it was, for me, that was a major, oh my God, technological change. There was a few others when I stop and think about them, and again, it's going to be telecom because that's a business that I've been around for a long, long time, and I remember when the cell phones first came out.
Yeah.
There was a real change then, and it was only handicapped by the idea that the company that brought it out first, the people that brought it out first, was the Guam Telephone Authority, the old GTA, and they brought it out, and everybody went out and bought these. God, we were expensive phones. It was stupid at the time. They'd go $500 for a piece of plastic, and the prices to get, but it was free. And there might be some people that say my memory might not be 100% complete on this, but back in those days, because they were still testing out the system, the airtime was free.
Wow.
So if you went to little Andy's Watch Shop was where I bought my phone. And I can't remember the name of it. It was just a real pretty phone. And it did two things. It made and received phone calls. That was all it did. They didn't have a calendar. There was no such thing as the internet back then. And if it got to be 5 o'clock in the afternoon, good luck getting a dial tone because everybody was on their Andy's Watch Shop phones using that free service. And there were just so many channels. It was the pre-digital days. There were just so many channels out there. But that was a major change. It was a game changer. And I'm sitting around in 2018 going, okay, where's my next big game change? Where is that, whether it's brought on by the government? Is there going to be a major change in the game from the guys over at the power company? It's their 50th anniversary today. What are they working on? And they're working on some interesting things, but are any of them going to be real game changers for us? Which one of them is going to feel revolutionary to you, huh? That's the one. What about the GWA? Anything revolutionary, evolutionary going on there? I'm sure there are revolutionary, evolutionary things going on in their industries, but has it trickled over to where we are? It's a fun conversation, and I don't mean to bring everything down to a certain era. It's just that I like to think in terms of who here are the game changers, or who on the list looks like more of the same. And when I say more of the same, I want you to take a look at Ken Leon Guerrero's letter to the editor this morning, because I think it makes some salient points. More of the same, in my mind, looks like this: retroactive pay raises, illegal bonuses, illegal bonus replacements, lote rent discounts. Farm contract revisions, GRRP settlement agreement, Luzon landfill tax credits, Purloin $1 million views in the Chamorro Land Trust Commission lots, Guam YTK money for nothing and award, and taxpayer air mile hijacking in a partridge in a pear tree. That's what it feels like. So which one of these guys is going to end up being game changers? So play around with that thought. Bob Klitsky's on the line. Maybe he can add to the rant. Good morning, Senator.
Hey, good morning, Ray. I could add a couple of the technological things before I get to the big question.
Okay.
Remember back not so long ago when Cal Worthington and his dog Spot were island-wide household members?
I do.
Because instead of having a pipe big enough to send live TV out here, the TV was recorded in San Francisco and L.A. and brought out here by air to rebroadcast a week or 2 weeks later. Remember that?
I do, and everybody knew all of the same commercials and all of the same television shows because we had to courier the tapes from California. There was there was a certain amount of scale that you had, and initially the technology only allowed for, what was it, 4 or 6 cable channels, plus the addition of the over-the-air channels.
Yeah. So that's been quite a change. And then the North American numbering plan, as you mentioned, I want to give the credit for that to Bob Kelly. I don't know if he really deserves it or not, but I'm going to give him the credit for that. A close associate of yours.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but it was that working with then Carl Gutierrez, governor, and Robert Underwood, congressman, right?
That's who was in office at the time. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I don't think you just go up and say, I want to be in the North American numbering plan. I think it takes close coordination and the desire to bring that kind of change.
Oh, yeah, and a lot of technical knowledge. And as I understand it, Canada was fighting. We had to beat Canada in order to get it. Now, I don't know exactly how that worked out, but it was quite an accomplishment. And once again, I'm going to give credit to Bob Kelly.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he's my regulatory guy, and I think he's off island doing some regulatory business out there somewhere. But what was the big one in your mind?
As far as who is going to bring about revolutionary change amongst the current candidates, I don't see it right now. The only thing that I've seen that was a little bit different in the recent past was Frank Uggan's bill to include the reorganization of the government, to give the governor the authority to reorganize, which wound up as Section 5 of the tax bill. Mm-hmm. Other than that, it's just the same old maneuvering back and forth, a contest of mutually throwing brickbats back and forth, etc. So that's the only thing that I've seen. I would like to see a little bit more. I guess maybe I could give some credit to Michael San Nicolas, too, because he's come up with some pretty interesting ideas and things that no one else has thought of in the past.
Well, I like his repatriation of taxes through Guam. I like that idea very much, and I think it will allow us to wet our beaks on monies that would normally be flying over us over the Pacific.
I'm not sure that it's going to work.
But you got to ask. But you got to throw it out there and see if it'll work. And if we can get past the scrutiny of Treasury, U.S. Treasury, then we ought to be in decent shape.
Well, and there's also a little bit of peril involved, and that is that our ability to give tax breaks to anybody is supported by a very slender reed. I think you're familiar with the rule in Ramsey versus Chaco being the reason that we can continue to do that, but it's not based on sound legislative footing, and Congress could take it away in a heartbeat. But
well, Dan, wait a second. You said Congress in heartbeat. So there'd be some time to fight this thing through, and I tell you what, I'd love to see the fight. I would love to see the fight. And when they come to us and say, how dare you, and then we can go back to them and say, how dare you, why are we treated differently? Why is there such a disparity between the benefits that are eked out to states versus the benefits that are eked out to territories? And there's a long list from which we can choose. So as far as I'm concerned, if
we don't pay any taxes into the national treasury, that's why the disparity.
Well, then fine.
But anyhow, back to the innovations, I do get, and San Nicolas has had several bills that were classic examples of not just doing what's always been done before.
But unfortunately, he's not running for governor.
No, he's not. He's running for Washington delegate, and I would prefer him to the grand old lady that we all love so well, but apparently is not effective.
Sometimes you just got to, define what it is that we want from there, and define that kind of effectiveness. And how effective can you be? How effective will Mike be, given the same circumstances that Madeline had to deal with, that Uncle Robert had to deal with, that Ben Pangilinan all the way back to A.B. Wanpat had to deal with. Thanks for coming. Great to have you here. And you can vote in committee, but we don't want to hear from you too much on the floor. And so you try to eke out whatever influence that you can get in the various committees that you got. Now, to the degree that I like Mike as much as I do, to the degree that I have a great deal of affection for everybody that has held that office, personally and to a degree professionally, I just don't know what's going to change unless Mike is able to set up.
The other day, Ray, and that is that rather than try to model behavior on the way the other members of Congress who do have votes conduct themselves, our representative has got to strike out in a different direction. I exaggerated just a tad, perhaps, when I said that when it came to compact negotiations with the freely associated states, our representative should find out when and where and be out in the parking lot with a can of gasoline threatening to self-immolate if we weren't admitted.
Yeah.
That's maybe going a little bit too far, but I think you get the point, right?
Yes. I don't disagree. I don't know how those missteps are taken in some cases, and they're, negotiations going to be popping up again sometime soon, so we got to make sure that we've got aggressive guys in there. Personally, I would have liked to have seen an Angel Santos in there clamoring and standing by with a can of gasoline and a Bic lighter in the other hand.
It's not on the floor of Congress, but by clever use of the various kinds of media available, because Guam does have a distinct media advantage. We are the man biting the dog. We're the place that Kim Jong-un knows by our first name, et cetera. So
China got the Guam killer.
And so, a clever person who understands media ought to be on somebody's talk show every night. He ought to be on Morning Joe every morning. He ought to be playing that card and talking about what it is that we do here, where we are, who we are, et cetera, and the things that we the things that the national government could do for us that would help us and help them also.
Bob, I've been saying that. I've been saying that since the first week I was in talk radio. We need a PR office. Never mind the congressman, never mind the governor's office in Washington, D.C. I'm sure they throw nice parties, and I'm sure they get invited to nice parties. But that's exactly what we need. We need somebody to go out there and tell a story about Guam that didn't have anything to do with brown tree snakes, and then start, just making sure that we're in the headlines all the time. I gave the governor's office a perfect excuse here to get, and it was just a question of making enough noise, asking about having the summit here. And they still haven't decided, my understanding is they still haven't really decided where the summit is going to be between Kim and the president.
Yes.
So let's go and make a big noise and make it here. And even if they say no, we've still found a way to appear on an international stage in a big way. Get Dennis Rodman, despite his DUI issues and his fading tattoos. Go get Dennis Rodman to and that guy can still get in the front of USA Today.
Well, if I were looking my crystal ball, I could see Jimmy Kimmel interviewing the congressman from Guam, who's just like every other congressman. He's got an office in the House office building, et cetera, right up to the point, but he can't vote. You can't vote? What?
What?
And we have a really interesting story to tell. We've got a beautiful candle that we could show everybody, but it's been burning under a bushel basket for a long, long time.
There's always great opportunity in change, but sometimes it maybe comes down and getting in there and realizing what the limitations of the office are. We'll talk about it some more. So you don't see those change agents.
If you want that, the key to his success was Philip Burton, and because of his relationship with Philip Burton, he was able to accomplish a lot.
Lisa Murkowski was here a few weeks ago, and I was fortunate enough to be invited. And it wasn't, we don't want to call it a Codell because, frankly, it looked like she was here more to be hanging out with the guys from the CNMI, but also talking with Alaska Native corporations that are here and have been here doing business, not necessarily related to the military buildup. But at the end of it, she gave a few minutes worth of a speech and said, I know what you guys are going through out here. I'm Alaskan. They've got the Jones Act issues up there. They're also oftentimes forgotten because they're not a part of the, contiguous United States of America. But she said, I'll be happy to advocate for you. So maybe Lisa is going to end up being our new advocate spokesperson in Washington, D.C.
Good to know that the congressman from Alaska didn't give us the cold shoulder, Ray.
I'm going to leave that right there. That's a perfect place to end. Okay. I'll see you pretty soon, Senator. Have a great morning. It's at 9:37, and studio time, iConnect time, is 9:37. Connect for longer, for less with iConnect and their push-to-talk and mobile plans.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. I'm Kim Anderson of Chalampago, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi Itinotmo, protect your land. When it comes to your family land, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Are you a homeowner looking to save money on your power bill? Ever thought about getting solar on your roof? If the answer is yes, Micronesia Renewable Energy will install a solar energy system on your roof for zero money down, so you can save money on your power bill. Sign up in the month of May, and MRE will pay you $400 in cash. That's right. In the month of May, get a solar energy system on your roof, and MRE will pay you $400 just for signing up. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
What else going to make this upcoming election that much more exciting? We've got a gubernatorial race, and God, I hope it's exciting when it gets down to it. I hope there's all kinds of kicking and scratching when it gets to be time. Maybe we'll throw a thing in there about marijuana. Let's do that. Let's do that. So James Howard, who's got his own Facebook Live thing, and Jim, you're more than welcome, seeing as how we're not competitors or anything like that, and I think you've got some interesting perspectives. Feel free to post links to yours on this Facebook Live deal. 14 states, full legal. 29 states, medicinal. Our nation's capital, fully legalized. In terms of marijuana. Yes, we can, he says. Here's the thing. I don't have a dog in the hunt. I just think that it will make things more interesting for the election. The other point is whatever gives me something else to talk about is good for business. Frankly, I want to see Doug Moylan's name in there somewhere. Can we please, Danny Fong? Michelle Diego Kitsutsu, Susan Bobbis is there. I already told you that James is online. Carl with the Cape Pangolinan checked in. Lynn Perez, that's L-I-N, everybody. Frank Torres, Rebecca Salazar, Hufflebeck, nice to see you. And a side chat that's going on. Every once in a while, I'll notice that. Here I am going on about whatever it is that I've stepped into in the morning show. And over on the other side, and it was based on a conversation I was having about opioids earlier. And they're talking about the buyback program or the take-back program in the states, and £1 million worth of prescription drugs based on the preliminary numbers that the president revealed here this morning. And, way to take a bite out of the potential for the opioid epidemic. And I was wondering out loud if we have one here. I mean, I only know about my experience and trying to turn down as much as I can. But do we have an opioid epidemic here on Guam? I'm going to figure out a couple of doctors that I can talk to, or maybe there's some people that maybe the doctors aren't the right ones to talk about. Maybe they're the ones that can look. If I prescribe this to you, will you get out of my office? You sure? It's just pain. A little bit more than usual. All right, we'll do this. And did you hear on the news, I guess it was Walmart or somebody, that they'll give you the opioids a week at a time? Woof. Okay, if that's going to be problematic for some people. Sometimes they're not always going to be able to get there before the pills run out, and that's more options for the guy behind the counter to roll his eyes and say, "Oh, you again," like you're a junkie. But these guys talking about a TENS unit. and being able to get a TENS unit for whatever pain is an alternative to opioids or other pain pills. I've got something like that from a Japanese company. It's not an actual TENS unit. It's just a little portable thing that, Japanese guys wear on the train, and I like to use mine a lot. It's good for big muscles and all of that. So that's kind of the unit that I have. And then Nick says, yeah, I was waiting for one out of the VA, and it still hasn't gotten here. And that turned into another conversation that these guys were going to have. But, I was talking about ways that we're going to make this election that much more exciting, gubernatorial candidates, conversations like that. Huffa, Carl, what's on your mind?
Good morning, Ray.
Huffa, dude.
Yeah, I was listening to your show, enjoying the conversation between you and Bob Klitsky. Every time Bob calls in, I always learn something new.
He's a fun guy.
Yes, very knowledgeable. As far as where I am so far in this election, this will be the first time in decades. For as far back as I can remember, ever since I started voting, I've been a loyal Republican. I voted straight line Republican for pocketbook issues, But the last few years have been certain members have been disappointing to me. So this will be the very first year I will vote some Democrats in. Right now, as far as the gubernatorial race, the two horses that are neck and neck for me are the Rodriguez-Cruz team and Ugan Limtiaco. I'm impressed with Rodriguez' staff. I know a couple of members of the staff, and they tend to be in line with my tight-fisted views on spending money and conservative views.
He's the one that wants to access more access for free health care.
Yeah,
I get the idea that we want to help as many people as possible, but that's just it's another free ride for people.
Yeah, and I don't agree on everything of course with every candidate, but those are the two that I'm the most impressed with at the moment, and it's kind of a neck and neck thing, and that could change, so who knows? But and the same thing with the senators. I'm going to be probably voting more heavy Republican, some Democrats and I'm going to be looking at not the slogans and the signs and all this other stuff, but I'm going to be trying to look at their achievements either in public office or in the private sector. What have they actually done? Not the nice, catchy, snappy slogans, but what have they accomplished? Because that will tend to influence what they'll be able to accomplish for us in the future.
Yeah, but you've seen the list. You've seen the 59. I mean, of those 59, how many of them have accomplished anything other than just accomplished having government jobs?
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to be voting probably. What happened last time?
I hate to say it, because people go, oh, that's just Ray Gibson being a Trumpian, conservative right-wing guy. I'm trying to, honest to God, figure out what it was that Hillary was good at. Why did she all of a sudden be in a position where she was all lined up to be the next president of the United States of America? What were her grand accomplishments?
The last election, what I did is, Kenley and Guerrero had some excellent posts and information about the pay raise issue. Was really the last straw for me.
It's still there.
I went into the voting booth with Kenley on Guerrero's list, and not a single Republican that voted to keep the pay raises did I vote for. And I'll be going in this time with a list, so I will probably be voting for less than 15. I'm going to be very hyper-selective.
Carl, I can't find 5 people that I'm willing to vote for right now.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm serious. I count them up at the end of my vote, and I think the last time I might have been able to cast a vote for 7 people. You don't have to use all 15. You know that. So you don't use all that 15. And if you only vote for 7 people, statistically, I'm told it makes it that much easier for your guys to get in. So don't dilute your water. It is a precious vote, and don't give it up for nothing.
Well, and that's just another argument for moving to what some people call a part-time legislature. I prefer to call it a focused legislature, because as you compress down time, you force the legislature to address key issues and kind of push off the other stuff, the resolutions and all this stuff that really doesn't accomplish anything, get rid of that and get down to business. We need to move to a focused model, where the legislature is forced because of time constraints. And a focused legislature would force the candidates to get down to business, and that's something that is extremely critical and that is lacking now. They've got a lot of time on their hands, and they tend to be, all over the place. So
just wait. There's going to be a bill here to change the Guam flower, and pretty soon I guarantee there's going to be one that is going to be introduced by somebody that's going to lose the election. Whoever introduces it going to lose the election to ban plastic straws on Guam.
Well, if we move to a part-time legislature, and I know that would open up the field. It would blow it open. People that are highly accomplished that can't afford to set down their careers, for 2 years or 4 years or whatever to serve the island's interests. Suddenly, it would become doable.
Okay, so I'll make this point, and then I gotta get to the next call. This needs to be a voter initiative, and I'm not good at that. My dad did it before. I don't have that particular political gene in me, and I don't recall it passing when he tried the last voter initiative that they did over at the legislature. But it ain't going to happen because 15 people, 7 to 8 people at the legislature go, you know what, I agree with Carl. I think we ought to be a part-time body. That's not going to happen. There's a possibility it might. Somebody was floating that balloon out a while ago, saying, I think it was Lee Weber that was floating that balloon, says, there's 7 guys now that are on the way out. Maybe on the way out, they can pull the chain on the commode and bring in one more guy that maybe doesn't stand a chance and doesn't mind doing a silent goodbye on the rest of the body and saying, okay, we'll introduce the measure. I don't think it'll be worth introducing. I don't think it would go anywhere at the legislature, but I think a voter initiative that we can stick on the general election that would require a part-time legislature. Now, there's another issue. In fact, let me write that down. There's a VIP for part-time legislature. I write really fast. I can't read any of it, but I can write fast. So those are my thoughts. Carl, I got to run.
Thank you, Ray. I totally agree with what you said, and I hope it happens.
We'll see. You know who knows? And you'll like the next call, because the next call is Daryl Taggarty. What did you want me to do? Did you want me to take the break? Okay, Daryl, coming right to you. It's a short break. We'll be right back.
Capture moments with Mom forever and remember her special day.
Hi, Mom. Even though I always think about you a lot, you've been on my mind lately, especially with Mother's Day coming up. I'm definitely the proudest of all to be your daughter. Happy Mother's Day, my lady. I love you.
Happy Mother's Day. Get $50 off Samsung S9, S9 Plus, and a free wireless charger. Some conditions apply. Docomo Pacific, better together.
In this divided world, there are still a few things that unite us. The thrill of an exciting championship game.
Fires to the end zone. Touchdown!
The sound of great music.
The Grammy goes to...
And the love we have for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam presents to you For the Love of Burgers menu. For a limited time, we want you to put down that fork, tuck that napkin in your collar, and go for broke with an amazing burger for just $11.99. 8 burgers to try, and time is a-wasting. Ruby Tuesday Guam lunchtime. See you soon.
Manila, Osaka, Fukuoka.
Dreaming about your next vacation? With the FHB United Mileage Plus credit card, you can get 10% off on United Airlines flights from Guam to Manila, Osaka, or Fukuoka when you book your ticket by May 31. Book your flight on United.com at a United City ticket office or your local travel agency using promo code FHB18M. Visit FHB.com/United Fair Sale 18 for more details. Terms and conditions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
That's my buddy. Some people get a hold of me on the phone. Some people get a hold of me on the Facebook. I got a buddy that checks me out just about every day on the emails. RayGibsonShow@gmail.com. He says, you want to play around with some subjects? Okay, play around with these. Powerball and Mega Millions lottery. We've got a lottery around here. It's not a Guam-based lottery totally. And I think they just changed beneficiaries on it not that long ago. He says, talk to Dr. Sam Friedman on opioid regulations. Here's an interesting take. Taxing plastic bags and bottles in an attempt to reduce the solid waste tipping fees. Could wrap my head around that. Make all public schools charter schools. And here's another darling one. Enact vagrancy laws to deport homeless migrants. Yeah, I could do that. I could wrap my head around that one right now. And people say, well, we're going to get the money for the airplane tickets. And we'll take it from the 26 million mile inventory that continues to get loaded up, that everybody's pissed off because Jay Rojas and the guys over at Gita aren't putting any mileage into it. Well, there's still plenty mileage, and how difficult would it be to be able to say we're also going to use that as part of our, let's call it island beautification. So when one of these yahoos steps out of line and slingshots a runner on Marine Corps Drive, then guess what? You have blown your chance at living on Guam, and we're sending you back to where you came from, right? Enjoy poverty. 9:52. Daryl Taggarty's on the line. Good morning, friend.
Good morning to you. I really enjoyed your show.
Well, thank you for saying so. I'm having a good time today.
And the last caller, Carl, is my kind of voter. You know, we need people to think about what they're doing. But even more than that, we need to have a majority. There has to be a majority of senators who think the same way. It's important that we get the candidates right now, to the 59, to commit to whether they're in favor of a part-time legislature or not. Maybe they want to avoid the question, or maybe they haven't thought about it. But if they're not forced to think about it, then the voters are going to just drift into the primary without thinking about it, then the ones who survive the primary are not going to be committed to any particular platform. They're just going to be, pretty pictures on the side of the road. And
Daryl, you're my brother. You're my brother. We've been friends a long, long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And here's what's going to happen. There will be a couple of salty veteran journalists out there that will ask the question of the top contenders, whether it's all 57 or 59 of them or the top 20. And we're going to get a bouquet of lies. It will be beautiful. It will smell nice, but it will be lies. They will say whatever it takes in order to get themselves elected or shine their light a little bit in the 2 column inches that their answer is going to get.
Well, I think we're going to have to try to pin them down to something substantive rather than...
No, I think we're going to have to pin him down, period. And the way to pin them down is some kind of voter-introduced legislation, which the voters would be able to come through and say, we are demanding. Same way we did it. You remember when we went from 21 to 15?
Yeah.
That was not, the body didn't do that themselves. That came down to us.
And that was supposed to save money. That was trying to save a couple $1 million out of a legislature that was spending money on itself for its own perpetuation.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got the same situation now, but now we have less representation. We have less senators on the fringes willing to throw rocks to get noticed and to shake the system up.
Yeah. So that and I don't know where you and I whether we've had a chance to run through the possibility of this, but take me to 21 part-time, because I want it to be this big, massive, crazy family.
Yes. Which we are, and we have to have full participation. Right now, these guys are like a cabal. I wrote about this last year.
So I'll admit it's probably not an original idea. Maybe I'm just riffing on something in my head that I got from you. And so there's the gist of the idea, but the body won't do it themselves. You know that. And they'll say that they will. They'll say that they'll meander towards it, and then we'll get a bill that bans plastic straws.
Some years back, there was a proposal that came down through regulatory channels, federal regulatory channels, that the Department of Commerce, Customs, adopt a universal product code system for bills of lading. And what that would have done was require all the businesses on Guam, when they're ordering things, to include the barcode number.
Yeah.
So that it could be quickly processed. And it was poo-pooed at the legislature, and I was going nuts because I was thinking, this is the best idea. The best reason for that was we would know what was going into our waste stream, and then we could set up the proportional cost of disposal. We could turn
among other things, that would have been another beneficial consequence of the passage.
Well, and it didn't go, and I was silently screaming, but I was physically jumping up and down in the office, going, "This can't be dismissed so easily. Then now's the time to do it." And the Customs was willing to do it. They wanted to do it because it would have made their job easier. It would have been automated. I'm talking about 20 years ago. And now it's in place, but it was something that we kind of walked sideways into and quietly adopted, but they're still not gathering the data for what we could be using it for, which is to reduce the solid waste stream, or at least assign shadow pricing.
So what about collection of use taxes? I mean, what's the leakage on that? I thought I saw a number, and so the reason why I ticked off about hearing about people getting a walk on use taxes is because, frankly, I bought a transmitter and it arrived, and I could not get it out of the cargo place until the lady took a pass on my platinum card, and I have another one on the way, and so I'm making sure that platinum card's got plenty of credit left on it because I can see myself needing to do that again.
Well, I'm just wondering.
But I hear a bunch of other people that don't seem to be paying.
There's an exemption, personal exemption of $1,000, I think, each time you come in. And also, when you have orders from the States, it's just like the use tax is like a GRT. They just call it something different. It's a GRT.
So this is what I want you to do, because I've only got 90 seconds left in the program. So I'm going to give you your instructions, and because you know how to do it, you're a good policy guy and can see the problems before I do. Let's set up a VIP. Take the legislature back to 21 and make it part-time.
I want a 21 legislature, and I want it part-time.
Okay.
The VIP is so easy to derail. It is too easy to derail.
Okay, so there's another option. What is it? We just got to get it. We just got to put it on the ballot. Let's put it on.
Well, we have to put candidates on the ballot who are committed to it.
Nah, forget about that. We've tried. We keep going down that road, and we keep getting the same answer. So it needs to be the people. The people. It has to be the people. The Tao Guahan has got to say with a loud voice that we are tired of the same old we want change this time. Hey, dude, I got to go. You better check in with me earlier tomorrow, okay? Show starts at 6.
I know, but I'm watching my dad. I'm on his schedule.
That's right. That's right. Well, you take care of him. I haven't lost mine. I know how precious those moments are. I'll see you soon, buddy.
Absolutely. Yes.
10 o'clock in the morning. Sorry, Dr. McNinch called. I'm not going to be able to get to you. Hey, Doc, the show starts at 6 in the morning. We are KUSG. I got you 10 seconds for me to tell you that the radio station is The Point. Coming up, I got right-wing bomb throwers because it's Tuesday, baby. I'll be back with you tomorrow. Like I said, show starts at 6. Here's the news.
Committed. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump's choice for CIA Director Gina Haspel moving forward with meetings with lawmakers ahead of her confirmation hearing Wednesday.
White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
She wanted to do everything she could to protect the agency.